The end came suddenly for Abu Musab al-Zarqawi. Iraq's most feared and most wanted terrorist literally never knew what hit him. After a frustrating hunt, coalition intelligence closed in and final tips led to the target, a safe house near Bakuba, just north of Baghdad. A pair of U.S. jets dropped a pair of bombs as al-Zarqawi met with associates from his al-Qaeda in Iraq group. Iraq's top insurgent al-Zarqawi is believed to have personally beheaded an American hostage and to have inspired attacks which have killed thousands in Iraq. The end came yesterday for al-Zarqawi. It was first announced today after the body was identified and after coalition forces carried out 17 simultaneous raids around Baghdad. Commanders say a treasure trove of information was collected. The official word came amid jubilation in Baghdad. CNN's John Voss is in the Iraqi capital.
Today, Zarqawi was eliminated, said the Iraqi Prime Minister. And a room filled with reporters, mostly Iraqi, broke into cheers and applause. There were celebrations on the streets of Baghdad. As word spread, the man called the Prince of Al-Qaeda was dead. The announcement of the death of Zarqawi is good news for all Iraqis, said this man. God willing, security will prevail. But with the death of Iraq's most wanted came words of caution.
Zarqawi's death will not by itself end the violence in Iraq. But it is an important step in the right direction.
A bloody reminder of that violence came hours earlier. A roadside bomb left at least a dozen dead at a market in Baghdad.
The lead aircraft is going to engage it here momentarily.
And the U.S. military said this was the airstrike which killed Zarqawi and 5 others. 2 500-pound precision bombs dropped by F-16s. According to the military, Abu Musab al-Zarqawi was meeting at a safe house near these homes north of Baghdad. They too appear to have been destroyed by the strike. Iraqi police were the first on the scene. U.S. intelligence had been tracking Zarqawi's spiritual advisor heading to a meeting of senior leaders.
We had absolutely no doubt whatsoever that Zarqawi was in the house. It was 100% confirmation. We knew exactly who was there. We knew it was Zarqawi, and that was the deliberate target that we went to get.
Vital clues before the strike, according to Iraq's foreign minister, came from this video, released by Zarqawi in April, as well as from one of his senior leaders arrested last month by Jordanian authorities. His identity was confirmed by fingerprints, scars and tattoos. A DNA test is also being done. This is a message to all those who are using violence and killing and destruction to stop and to think twice before it's too late, warned the Iraqi Prime Minister. The self-proclaimed leader of Al-Qaeda in Iraq was responsible for some of the most brutal attacks over the past 3 years, blowing up Shiite mosques, car bombings, kidnappings and beheadings. His reach stretched beyond Iraq to his native Jordan, Morocco and Turkey. And with his death, attention turns to who will take his place. US and Iraqi officials already have a name, Abu al-Masri. Another name, another target. John Voss, CNN, Baghdad.
It was a good day for Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki. After announcing the death of Iraq's public enemy #1, he gained parliamentary approval for the final post in his cabinet. The new defense minister is Abdul Qadir Mohammed Jassim al-Mifarji, a Sunni. The new interior minister and the new national security minister are both Shiites. President Bush today hailed the death of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, saying U.S. military forces have, quote, delivered justice. He says the al-Qaeda leader's death offers a chance to turn the tide in Iraq. On Capitol Hill, there's celebration, especially by beleaguered Republicans. Our congressional correspondent Dana Bash is standing by with more on that. Let's go to the White House first. Ed Henry is there. Ed?
Wolf, the White House just moments ago released a still photo from yesterday about 4:35 p.m. Eastern Time. That is when the president officially first got the word that al-Zarqawi was dead in the Oval Office. He's with the Secretary of State, White House Chief of Staff Josh Bolton, a serious look. If you fast forward to this morning, right before the president came out to the Rose Garden, he was in the Oval Office. I could see through the window that the president was quite happy. I wouldn't say jubilant, but he was smiling, laughing with aides. They seemed much happier than they have been in recent days as they have been dealing with the president's plummeting poll numbers. But the president was very careful as he stepped up to the podium in the Rose Garden to not be celebrating, doing any victory dances. He walked a very fine line, cautioning that the violence in Iraq will continue, even as he said this was a severe blow to al-Qaeda.
Now Zarqawi has met his end, and this violent man will never murder again. Iraqis can be justly proud of their new government and its early steps to improve their security. And Americans can be enormously proud of the men and women of our armed forces who worked tirelessly with their Iraqi counterparts to track down this brutal terrorist and to put him out of business.
Now, the president carefully added that there will be tough days ahead, and he will continue to need the American people's patience to get the mission done in Iraq. Wolf.
The president also announced in those remarks that he's convening, I guess, some sort of summit national security meeting at Camp David Monday and Tuesday. What's that all about?
Well, he's going to be bringing in his national security team on Monday. He will also then bring in by video conference various Iraqi officials. The key question, obviously, will cuts in U.S. troops from Iraq be on the table? From what the president said, it certainly sounds like it's one option. The president saying they will be looking at how best to, quote, deploy U.S. resources in Iraq. That would suggest they will at least take a look at U.S. troop levels. But obviously, based on the tone, the tenor of the president's remarks, he is walking a fine line, a balancing act where he doesn't want to go too far out on a limb. The bottom line is this White House has seen many milestones in Iraq, voters going to the polls, constitution being ratified, governments being formed, but then they've seen violence only tear away some of that progress. So they're being very careful not to go too far out on a limb, Wolf.
Ed, thanks very much. Let's go to Capitol Hill. Dana Bash is standing by. Lots of smiles on the Hill today, Dana.
That's right, Wolf. Killing Zarqawi elicited a rare, likely fleeting moment of bipartisan agreement. Republicans and Democrats calling it an incredibly positive development, praising both the U.S. troops and Iraqis. But it is, of course, 5 months before Election Day, and one Republican leader was quite candid in what he thought this would mean for November. Lawmakers in both parties were careful to downplay expectations Zarqawi's death would diminish bloodshed in Iraq. But the number 2 House Republican was quick to play up what the news means on the campaign trail here at home.
Well, I think Zarqawi's death, or as I like to say, taking the head off the snake, will in fact help us win. And anything that helps us win, that brings good news, will certainly help, frankly, all members, both sides of the aisle, as they run for re-election.
The increasingly unpopular Iraq war casts the longest shadow over Republicans, threatens their prospects for keeping control of Congress. Yet the most endangered GOP incumbents, getting hammered hardest on the war, were more circumspect than the majority leader about the impact killing Zarqawi could have on their re-election. Connecticut Republican Chris Shays is one.
It's certainly not mission accomplished. It's not even close to that. It's just a very, very positive step among a lot of other positive steps. I think the American people need to know that we could fail if we lose the war here at home.
Pennsylvania Republican Jim Gerlach is another.
Well, I don't know if it takes pressure off. I think people, again, realize that a cut-and-run strategy is not the right strategy.
House Republicans were already planning an Iraq debate next week supporting the mission. And in the Senate, the number 2 Republican tells CNN he thinks this good news on Iraq gives them a fresh opening to exploit divisions among Democrats over withdrawing U.S. troops.
Maybe now's the time to have a vote on that and see where senators stand on withdrawing the troops immediately or withdrawing the troops by the end of the year. That might be an instructive debate, and you could well see it.
And senators will likely have an opportunity to offer amendments on Iraq next week. And CNN is told that the Democratic leader, Harry Reid, is actively trying to get members of his caucus on the same page so they don't look divided on Iraq. But Wolf, CNN is also told by a GOP leadership aide that Republicans may try to highlight Democratic divisions by actually offering a proposal by Senator John Kerry, and that would be to pull combat troops home from Iraq by the end of this year. Wolf.
All right, Dana, thanks very much. Dana's on the Hill. Al-Qaeda is reacting to Abu Musab al-Zarqawi's death as well. Zain Verji is joining us from the CNN Global headquarters in Atlanta with more on that. Zain?
Wolf, the death of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi is burning up Islamic websites. In an online statement, Al-Qaeda in Iraq confirms that its leader was indeed killed. A separate statement is a rallying cry to militants. In it, Al-Qaeda says this: God will not let our enemies celebrate and spread corruption in the ground. Expect the right that was stolen to come back to us and destroy the Crusaders. The father of an American contractor believed to have been beheaded by al-Zarqawi says the terrorist's death offers him little consolation. Michael Berg blamed President Bush today for the violence that persists in Iraq since the 2003 U.S.-led invasion. 26-year-old Nicholas Berg was kidnapped and later killed on video in 2004. CNN's Mary Snow will have more in our next hour at 5 p.m. Eastern. The announcement of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi's death was followed by a string of bombings in and around Baghdad. The first exploded in a busy shopping square in Baghdad's northern Kadima district, killing 7 people and wounding 26. An hour later, 5 Iraqi civilians died when a car bomb went off in a southeast Baghdad marketplace. That was followed by yet another car bomb north of Baghdad that killed 10 more Iraqi civilians. In all, 37 people died in Iraq today. New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg says he hopes al-Zarqawi's death sends a message to terrorists that the U.S. means business. New York's been on elevated alert since the September 11th attacks. Bloomberg says little has changed in the wake of today's news.
I don't think you should worry about, are you safer today than you were yesterday, or are you more in danger? The world probably is better off without this person, but there are plenty of other people that we have to bring to justice.
CNN Homeland Security correspondent Gene Meserve is going to have a lot more on this in our next hour. That's at 5 p.m. Eastern. Wolf?
Zain, thanks very much. From Zain, let's go up to New York. Jack Cafferty standing by with the Cafferty File. Jack?
One man's life does not signify an end to the insurgency. Major General Bill Caldwell talking to reporters earlier today when he showed them pictures of al-Zarqawi deader than a carp. Caldwell added it's likely the leader had already picked a replacement in the event he was caught or killed, and that his followers will probably try to carry out attacks to prove they're still around. There's no doubt that we're better off with the terrorist leader dead. It's a plus when any of these mutants get killed. Even as al-Qaeda in Iraq confirmed his death, they urged their followers to continue the fight, and they will. And that's the problem. Since the war began, al-Qaeda and the insurgency inside Iraq have grown and become better organized than they were at the time of the invasion. Thus, any blow to the terrorists' morale accruing from the death of their leader is arguably not as great as it would have been if we could have gotten to him earlier. But better late than never. Here's the question. How will the death of al-Zarqawi affect the course of the war? Email your thoughts to CaffertyFile@CNN.com or go to CNN.com/CaffertyFile. Wolf.
Thanks, Jack, for that. And if you'd like a sneak preview of Jack's questions, plus an early read on the day's political news and what's ahead of the Situation Room, here's what you do. You sign up for our daily email alert. Just go to CNN.com/Situation Room. And please join me this Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern, for Iraq, a week at war. Our correspondents from around the world, as well as our analysts, will join me to bring you the only in-depth look at all the major events in Iraq and the war on terror. Coming up, much more in our lead story, the death of the top terrorist in Iraq. I'll speak with 2 powerful members of Congress who have very different views on the conflict. Senator John McCain and Congressman John Murtha. They're standing by live to join us. Plus, the war of words between Vice President Dick Cheney and fellow Republican Arlen Specter. We'll go live to Capitol Hill for the latest tough talk, and there is tough talk. And later, Tom DeLay says goodbye to Congress on his own terms. You won't want to miss his candid comments to our own Candy Crowley. Stay with us. You're in the Situation Room.
The Situation Room is brought to you by Philips Norelco, the world's closest rotary shave.
Technology has made your morning easier. Why not your shave? The Philips Norelco Smart Touch XL is designed to shave more, with 3 shaving rings in each shaving head. And now it pivots to stay on your face and neck, so even tricky hairs are cut. Make every stroke count. Now's the best time to buy a Philips Norelco razor, because for a limited time, you'll get $500 worth of savings on other high-tech Philips products. Look for specially marked packages.
The biggest thing in business is actually quite small. Introducing the Motorola Q. Ultra thin, fully loaded. It's the world's slimmest smartphone. Exclusively from the nation's largest high-speed wireless broadband network. Available now at Verizon Wireless stores everywhere. Verizon Wireless, it's the network.
CNN, all new tonight at 10. The so-called Prince of Al-Qaeda in Iraq, killed in a U.S.-led airstrike, taking out a terrorist.
The biggest event of the season, Jewelry Fest, June 11th through the 17th. For 7 days, 24 hours a day, Jewelry Television celebrates Jewelry Fest. The party starts June 11th, only on Jewelry Television and jewelrytelevision.com.
Oh, great. Can you tie your shoes while I get the phone? You get the phone. I'll tie the shoes.
I'm dead. Get Barney and other friends whenever you want. Free with On Demand from Comcast Digital Cable. It's Comcastic.
Let's get to the truth. It's time for Answers. Lou Dobbs tonight, CNN 6 Eastern.
Welcome back. We'll have much more in our top story, the killing of the top Iraq terror leader Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, and I'll speak live about it with Senator John McCain and Congressman John Murtha. They're standing by to join me live this hour. But first, let's turn to a story we told you about in the Situation Room last night, a war of words between 2 top Republicans. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Arlen Specter, who appeared here with me last night, sent an open letter to Vice President Dick Cheney accusing him of sabotaging his planned hearings on the administration's domestic surveillance program. Today, the vice president sent a letter of his own. Let's go to our congressional correspondent, Andrea Koppel. She has all the latest information. Andrea?
Wolf, that's right. Things appear to have cooled off a little bit today. A short time ago, I ran into Chairman Specter, who said that he had read and received the vice president's letter and suggested a willingness to let things play out for a little while they try to work out some sort of legislative compromise over this NSA warrantless wiretapping program. But it was a sign of just how angry and how frustrated Specter was that he sent the letter in the first place. Frustrated and furious, in fact, with the vice president over the fact that Cheney had spoken with a number of Republicans on the Judiciary Committee without letting Specter know, in an attempt to try to block Specter's efforts to call up 4 CEOs of telecommunications companies. Now today, Vice President Cheney responded defending the NSA warrantless wiretapping program. He was unapologetic about the fact that he had spoken to his colleagues on the Judiciary Committee, saying, quote, "I spoke with a number of other members of the Senate leadership and the Judiciary Committee. These communications are not unusual. They are a government at work." while there may continue to be areas of disagreement from time to time, we should proceed in a practical way to build on the areas of agreement. Now, as evidence of his desire to try to work things out with Senator Specter, Vice President Cheney had the Attorney General call Specter today to try to set up a meeting for the two to get together. Now, Senator Specter wants a special court to determine the constitutionality of this domestic wiretapping program. But in order for that to happen, Wolf, the Senate is going to have to pass some kind of legislation, something they haven't done as yet. The Judiciary Committee is going to meet on this matter next week. Wolf.
Andrea, thanks very much. Andrea Koppel on the Hill. Meanwhile, Veterans Affairs Secretary Jim Nicholson, along with other government leaders, face some tough questioning on Capitol Hill themselves over recent data security breaches. The top concern for lawmakers, the stolen VA laptop containing personal information on more than 26 million Americans. Our internet reporter Abby Tatton has the latest. Abby?
Well, Secretary Nicholson told that House panel today that it's possible that the data of these millions of veterans and military personnel was erased by burglars before selling on the equipment. He was citing authorities investigating that laptop, which is still missing. We spoke to the authorities today. They wouldn't comment on the specifics of the investigation. The Secretary was testifying at this committee on government reform. They met today and also heard from a representative of the IRS. The IRS is another agency that has just recently reported the loss of a laptop containing personal data, though that laptop only had the data of fewer than 300 people. This is a committee that hands out grades to government agencies on their computer security. Government-wide average about a D+. Veterans Affairs received an F last year. Committee Chair Tom Davis suggested that federal information security rules could be strengthened. Wolf.
Abby, thank you. Let's get back to our top story when we return. How will the elimination of al-Zarqawi in Iraq affect the political debate here at home? Our Bill Schneider standing by to take a closer look. Plus, he's one of the president's biggest backers in the war in Iraq. Senator John McCain is standing by live. He'll join us right here in The Situation.
You may not have the contract to build the next great suspension bridge, or the workforce to dig the next Panama Canal. And you may not be working on the next big sports complex, but your truck could. The GMC Sierra with the available Vortec Max engineered to the highest standard. Professional grade.
America's energy needs are constantly changing. And when the need arises, it's good to know there's a company out there that can quickly react. Citgo. With the backing of Petroleus de Venezuela, we can provide resources in a matter of days versus weeks or months. Citgo. Energy now and for the road ahead.
There are more than 29 million Americans without insurance who need help paying for their medicines. That's why there's the Partnership for Prescription Assistance. Through this free service, people who need help can call 1-888-4PPA now to see if they may qualify. Many get their medicines for free or nearly free, and I'm talking more than 2,500 brand name and generic medicines. Do you need help? Write down the number you see. It's your medicine. It's your life. It's your time to call.
Last year, Norfolk Southern and its shipping partners took hundreds of thousands of freight loads off the highway. In fact, they've invested millions to convert even more traffic in the coming years. So it's easy to see how the economy won't be the only thing that benefits. Norfolk Southern, the future of transportation.
Hey guys! Here you go. Happy Father's Day.
Thanks.
Bring out the kid in your dad with a Father's Day gift card. Happy Father's Day from the Home Depot. You can do it, we can help.
Welcome back to the Situation Room. I'm Wolf Blitzer in Washington. The death of Iraq's most wanted man comes as America's president and his war policies are at low points in several public opinion polls. It also comes as Congress faces midterm elections. Let's get some of the political impact of what's going on. We'll turn to our senior political analyst, Bill Schneider. Bill?
Question: how will the elimination of Zarqawi affect the political debate in this country? There's one thing both sides agree on: war supporters.
It's just part, although a significant part, of the long path we have to travel.
And war critics.
This is significant to two aspects. One is the fact that Zarqawi's killed, but also the fact that they appointed a defense minister and an interior minister.
Saddam Hussein's capture was the last big breakthrough. How much did it do for President Bush? By November 2003, Bush's job approval had slipped to 50%. After Saddam's capture in December, it jumped to 63%. In early January, it was still at 59%. By February, however, Bush's job rating was back down to 49%. The boost lasted about 1 month. How will the elimination of Zarqawi affect the debate?
Today, our military forces are to be commended for their dedication to eradicating the terrorist network in Iraq.
The message war supporters see is stick with it.
It's a sure sign that they are on the way to accomplish that goal.
War critics draw a different conclusion.
Having a security minister, defense minister, interior minister makes it that much closer to when we can start drawing down the troops there.
Most Americans want U.S. forces to withdraw from Iraq within the next year, though not immediately. The news from Iraq may strengthen their numbers.
We've got the Iraqis trained. You've got a government in place. Now it's time to set a time schedule for the withdrawal and the redeployment of American forces.
The elimination of Zarqawi is likely to bolster arguments made by both sides in the debate over Iraq. Those who say stick with it and those who say time to get out. Wolf?
Bill Schneider, thanks very much. Let's bring in a key member of the United States Senate. Senator John McCain is standing by live on Capitol Hill. Thanks, Senator, for joining us. 3 or 6 months from now, what do you suspect the impact of the death of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi is going to be practically in terms of the insurgency and the sectarian violence?
I think that it will indicate that it was an important event, but not a defining event, and that we will have continued to make some steady progress towards the Iraqi military taking over more and more responsibilities, that the Iraqi government functioning more effectively, and that the economy improving. Yeah, I think it's going to be long, hard, and difficult, and this is a significant day, but it really doesn't change the long-term challenges we face, as the President, I think, very well stated this morning.
As you know, a lot of critics would like the president to declare victory. There's a new government in Iraq. They've got a defense minister, an interior minister. Abu Musab al-Zarqawi is dead. Declare victory, as they used to say during the Vietnam War, as you well remember, and simply get out. What's wrong with that?
Well, I think that the Iraqis are making progress in assuming those responsibilities, and they are significant. As far as the training of police is concerned, that isn't where we want it to be. Equipping the Iraqi military hasn't reached the level it should, and we still have a long way to go, and it's going to require American support. What I believe can happen, and I think will happen, is that you'll see a gradual reduction in American casualties. But this is a very volatile situation. I could draw you a scenario, Wolf, where they have a, quote, Tet offensive, where they mount strikes all over Iraq in hopes of affecting American public opinion. But I believe we've been making slow but steady, difficult progress, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We're not ready to, if we declare a timetable for withdrawal, then it's obvious that the bad guys will just sit back and wait till we leave. That's not, it's got to do with conditions on the ground, not anything to do with a calendar.
Your colleague and friend, Senator Russ Feingold, issued this statement today. He said, as long as large numbers of U.S. troops remain indefinitely in Iraq, that country will remain a crucible for the recruitment and development of a wide range of terrorist networks determined to fight so-called American occupiers. It's time to refocus our global fight against terrorism. We must move away from the Iraq-centric policies that are draining our resources. You agree with him on campaign finance reform. Do you agree with him on this?
No, in all due respect. And I respect the views, and we all should respect the views of those who differ with us, and we need to continue this national debate. I firmly believe that if we left Iraq, it would not be long before they would be after us. If you read Zarqawi, what he said, if you read bin Laden, their goal is not just to take Iraq. Their goal is to destroy us, everything we stand for and believe in. When we lost in Vietnam, we were able to come home. The Vietnamese didn't want to come after us. I think it's clear that this is now part of a titanic struggle between radical Islamic extremism and Western values and standards. I think that's what this is all about. And if we lost or had to leave Iraq and leave it to the tender mercies of Iraqi Al-Qaeda and others, and devolves into sectarian violence, then we'll pay a price later on in the region and in the world.
Are we winning the war against Al-Qaeda?
I think so. I think it's very difficult. We're seeing a resurgence in Afghanistan, as you know. I think that there's still a lot of areas of Iraq that are not under control, but there's a lot of areas that are doing rather well. It's a very mixed bag. It's a long, hard, tough slog. The stakes are incredibly high. We must win.
Here's what Tony Snow, the new White House press secretary, said earlier today. I want you to listen to this because I want your reaction.
We have been crushing the opposition, but what happens is the opposition's been controlling the airwaves with scattered, fragmentary acts of violence.
Is he right that, in effect, those of us in the news media are simply not portraying an accurate picture of what's happening in Iraq?
I don't think so. I think the media quite often, whether it be in the United States or anywhere else in the world, tend to portray the most cataclysmic events. That's what makes news and gets viewers. But overall, I think that it's an accurate depiction of a very long, difficult, tough struggle. And maybe sometimes I wish they'd show more signs of progress, but at the same time, I can't try to tell the media what to say. But I do believe that one of the problems we are facing on the other side of the coin is that we have raised expectations too often by statements like stuff happens and last throws and things like that. And Americans have been disappointed and some disillusioned. We need to tell the American people this is long, hard, difficult. We're making progress and we can and must prevail.
Senator John McCain, thanks for spending some time with us.
Thanks, Wolf.
And up next, we'll get a different perspective from one of the more vocal critics of the overall U.S. mission in Iraq. Will Abu Musab al-Zarqawi's death change Congressman John Murtha's mind? My one-on-one interview with the Pennsylvania Democrat. He's standing by live. That's coming up next. And so much made of the demise of al-Qaeda's leader in Iraq. But a bigger question remains. Where's Osama bin Laden? That's ahead in our next hour. Stay with us.
You okay? I'm working like a dog. I run down to the print department, scan color documents, make color prints, run back, get approvals, run up to 5 and have to fax stuff all over the place. But I think I'm getting noticed. Is it rough by you too?
Not that rough.
What do you mean?
There's a color multifunction machine on my floor. I scan, copy, print, and fax and color from there. There's nothing to it.
Don't do this to me.
Xerox Color. It makes business sense. Come on, come on.
Will you be hauling 7 tons of sheet metal? Or 70 pounds of plywood? 12,000 pounds of cattle? Or a little something for a do-it-yourself job? We can't be certain how you'll use your GMC Sierra heavy-duty pickup, so we engineered it with the most available horsepower and torque in its class. GMC, engineered to the highest standard, professional grade.
Somewhere between where you are and where you're going, there's a Super 8.
I think we're right about here.
See you along the way.
Здравствуйте. Здравствуйте. Здравствуйте.
Здравствуйте.
Здравствуйте.
Здравствуйте.
Здравствуйте.
Правильно, здравствуйте.
Thank you.
Дэвид?
Здравствуйте.
Здравствуйте. Рад познакомиться. Nice to meet you. Тяжелый, устали, конечно. Ну, сейчас девочки сделают. Хотите кофе? Ну, девочки, знакомьтесь, это Дэвид.
Здравствуйте.
А это наши сотрудницы. Вы должны быть наладить для них, для всех системы CRM, ERP, Database Management. Окей?
What's the international language of business?
PC, server, Windows. Окей?
Да.
Software everyone understands. Microsoft. Software for the people-ready business.
There's a place where you can get to know some of the most famous names in the investing business, where you can meet the elite, including some of the best and the brightest. At E-Trade Financial, be starstruck.
Only one news network has been the most trusted for nearly 2 decades, CNN. When news is essential, Americans choose CNN. Still, the most trusted name in news.
Video from the Department of Defense. This is the first video they're giving us on the actual site where earlier yesterday Abu Musab al-Zarqawi was killed. This is surveillance video taken by U.S. military personnel, courtesy of the U.S. Department of Defense. You can see the destruction in the rubble here. This is the building where Abu Musab al-Zarqawi and his colleagues were holed up, and this is what is left right now. A pretty gruesome sight. We just heard from Republican Senator John McCain, a strong supporter of the president's policies in the war in Iraq. Let's turn now to a strong critic of the president's policies, Democratic Congressman John Murtha of Pennsylvania. He's joining us live from Capitol Hill. Congressman, thanks very much for joining us. Your critics are already saying, you know what, if we would have listened to John Murtha, we would have never gotten Abu Musab al-Zarqawi. What do you say to them?
Well, let me tell you, Wolf, they took it from the air. And the encouraging thing about what happened today is you had information from the Iraqis go to the Iraqis, then go to the Americans. Now, this is a significant event. There's no question about it, to have gotten the top leader of al-Qaeda. You got to remember, though, al-Qaeda is a very small part of what's going on in Iraq, and you got to be careful not to overestimate the impact this is going to have. Naturally, we're delighted to get him, but even more importantly, they announced the defense minister today, they announced the interior minister today, and that intelligence flowing through the Iraqis to the U.S. forces. They could have done this from outside, just like I've been suggesting right along. The air came in and knocked it out from every report that I have. So, you know, this is a significant event. I'm pleased. I compliment the troops about the way they handled it. I compliment the Iraqis, but we got a long ways to go.
What does it do to your strategy, your recommendations that the United States begin an orderly, what you call redeployment from Iraq? What does today's event do, if anything, toward your thinking?
Well, that doesn't change my thinking a bit. I've said right along, we've become the enemy. 80% of the people in Iraq want us out of there. 47% say it's all right to kill Americans. You got to remember, the biggest fight is going on. It's a secular violence, just like Senator McCain said. It's secular. It's chaos now. It's a civil war right now. We got 100,000 Shias fighting 20,000 Sunnis, and we're caught in between. We've become the targets, and we've unified the opposition against our troops, and they've caught in between. They go out every day and they face the explosive devices, and one day it happens, the next day it doesn't happen, some of them 4 and 5 times. They've been rotated over and over again. The pressure is tremendous, and the $9 billion a month we're spending on this war. $9 billion a month on this war and the war in Afghanistan. We have diverted ourselves from the war on terrorism to the war in Iraq. They're using terrorist tactics, but this is a civil war that's going on in Iraq, and we need to redeploy and let the Iraqis handle this themselves.
The British Prime Minister Tony Blair disagrees with that assessment. Here's what he said today. I want you to listen carefully to what he said in terms of the impact of this killing of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi.
The death of al-Zarqawi is a strike against al-Qaeda in Iraq. and therefore a strike against Al-Qaeda everywhere.
He makes the point that this is part of a broader war on terror. Do you agree with him?
Yeah, I agree with that, but that's not the point that I'm making. What's happened in Iraq is it's developed into a civil war. It's a secular war, they call it, but that's a definition of a civil war. Two participants fighting for supremacy inside the country. And so we're caught in the middle of that. Only people can handle that is themselves. We can't handle it. We give them advice. We do the best we can do, but that's not going to solve the problem. That airstrike could have come from outside. Our troops could have been redeployed. When I spoke out November 17th, the situation's gotten worse in every regard. Incidents have increased, 60% unemployment. Everything that's happened has gotten worse since that period of time. This is a significant development. I hope it reduces casualties, but you never know what's going to happen in a situation like that. We have done everything militarily. Our troops have done everything they've been asked to do, and it's time for them to be redeployed and brought home.
How quick of a withdrawal, redeployment would you like to see? What is a realistic, because the president, as you know, is going to meet with all of his top national security advisors at Camp David on Monday and Tuesday. What kind of timetable would you like to see begin to unfold?
Yeah. I'd like to see him say to the Iraqis, okay, you had your constitutional and your elections, and there was no violence during that period of time. I'd like him to say to them, you've got to take over your own country. You've got a couple 100,000 people trained according to them. I get a little difference from the troops, but we're going to withdraw our troops. You've got to accept responsibility for this yourself. We're going to start withdrawing very soon, and we're going to do it in a way that protects Americans. As one woman said to me, my husband joined the military not to fight for Iraq, but to fight for America. And these casualties day after day are coming from explosive devices. And much of the mission is they're out there looking for explosive devices. So as positive as this information is today, it's certainly not the solution to ending a civil war. Only the Iraqis can end this civil war.
But very quickly, how realistic, what kind of timetable are you talking about? Can it be done in 3 months, 6 months, a year?
Well, if they decided to do it, it could be done in 6 months very easily. If you aren't careful, though, if you do it very slowly, you make the troops that are doing the logistics part much more vulnerable. For instance, when I was in Anbar Province last August, they said to me, every convoy is attacked every single day. And so the less troops you have there, the more vulnerable they become. We went in with not enough troops in the first place. It got out of control. And now that it's out of control, only the Iraqis can get it back in place.
Congressman John Murtha, thanks as usual for joining us.
Nice being with you, Wolf.
And still ahead here in the Situation Room, it remains to be seen how the loss of its leader will impact al-Qaeda in Iraq. How will the death of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi affect the course of the war? Jack Cafferty has been taking your email. Also coming up, Tom DeLay prepares to bid farewell to Congress. CNN's Candy Crowley considers what's next for the former House leader. Stay with us. You're in the Situation Room.
Audiences and critics agree The Proposition is a masterpiece of filmmaking. Nick Cave's script is mesmerizing. Roger Ebert gives The Proposition 4 stars and stands alongside the best of Peckinpah, Eastwood, and Sergio Leone. Breathtaking. A stunning achievement. Ebert and Roper give The Proposition 2 big thumbs up. It's the finest Western to hit screens since Unforgiven. The Proposition, rated R, now playing in select cities.
Get home delivery of the New York Times, now in more U.S. locations than ever before.
It tells me in depth what I want to know.
Even if you don't live in New York, I think it's great to get the New York Times.
Get home delivery of the New York Times at 50% off. Call 1-800-909-5577.
It gives you the national perspective.
They're worldwide, really.
Science time, arts and leisure.
The sports. I clip articles, I clip recipes.
It's just a useful tool.
Make your day richer with the New York Times. Get home delivery at 50% off, as low as $2.50 a week.
The New York Times really tries to get at the truth.
I respect the Times.
It's aerobics for the brain.
Sort of a how-to, when-to, where-to.
I started reading the New York Times when I was 7 years old. It's part of my family tradition.
It's concise, it's evocative. It makes me feel like I'm in the know.
Get home delivery at 50% off for 12 weeks, as low as $2.50 a week.
I feel like there's a broader scope.
It's fun to read.
It helps keep me inspired.
Now get home delivery in even more U.S. locations. Call 1-800-909-5577 for the New York Times at 50% off.
There's the Times and there's everything else.
Dell Media Center PCs let you enjoy and share your digital photos. Download pictures from your digital camera, view or play them as a slideshow, print and share with family and friends, all at the touch of a button. Create and enjoy your memories with a Dimension E310 with Windows XP Media Center Edition, a 17-inch flat panel monitor upgrade, and free shipping and handling for just $499. It's more than a picture-perfect PC. It's a Dell.
Each year, thousands of kids find out if they've gotten into college.
It came.
And thousands of parents come to the realization they can't afford it.
You gonna open it? I'm freaking out.
I'm freaking out a little too. But now there's a smarter way to pay for college. Loan to Learn. Call now to talk with an advisor. We'll show you how to finance your child's college dream without depleting your retirement savings or home equity, so family finances stay intact.
You know, if you don't get in, it's a great school.
See how our easy application process and affordable loans can make all the difference.
Cross your fingers.
Loan to Learn. Call 1-800-524-4062 or visit loantolearn.com.
Welcome back. He was the enforcer for conservative causes on Capitol Hill. Congressman Tom DeLay didn't bother with kid gloves when he swung the hammer. Forced, though, to give up his majority leader post amid a swirling corruption scandal, he's now giving up his seat in Congress. But as you're about to hear, he's not giving up his blunt style. Joining us now, our senior political correspondent, Candy Crowley. You spent some time with the hammer earlier.
Did indeed. Sometime this afternoon, Tom DeLay is going to give his last speech on the House floor or not. The Democrats say one of them will object to the request to speak off the House agenda topic. A partisan flap that was pretty predictable when it comes to Tom DeLay. Tom DeLay ends his 2-decade-long Washington career in Tom DeLay fashion.
What am I proudest of? Pushing the conservative cause, changing the culture of this town, bringing the conservative worldview into the mainstream.
What do you most regret?
I don't have any regrets.
None, not a single one.
Not a single one.
And it was on he wielded power in the conservative cause, lost it in a blitz of unproven allegations and a Texas indictment on campaign money laundering charges.
This has been going on for 10 years, by the way, with frivolous charges.
All untrue, he says, lies from political enemies.
It's all about winning. And we win, they lose. And they don't like it. The Democrats hate losing. They hate being out of power.
Democrats have made DeLay the poster child for Republican corruption. By way of farewell, Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi called DeLay one of the most corrupt leaders in the history of Congress.
Well, it says more about Nancy Pelosi than about me. The hatred is amazing.
The significant chance that Democrats might retake the House has dampened Republican spirits as they head into fall elections. In a private goodbye, DeLay told colleagues to snap out of it.
All we have to do is finish our work here, stand up strong against illegal immigration, stand up strong for fiscal responsibility, stand up strong against judicial activism, and then talk about the future. And we'll prove all the pundits in the national media wrong.
In business and in politics, they call this an exit interview. What will you miss the most?
Probably the intensity of being in leadership, the movement, the get up and go every morning. I'll miss that.
Well, what won't you miss at all?
The intensity of the leadership.
Do you wish you could stay?
No. It's time for me to go.
Tom DeLay wants it very clear he is not leaving somewhere so much as going somewhere.
I would have been locked in to re-election in the 22nd District of Texas, and that's not what I ought to be doing. I ought to be out helping elect Republicans, helping defeat Democrats, talking about the conservative view and where we want to take the country.
Departure a la DeLay. No retreat, baby, no surrender. As for what's next, watch for DeLay on the campaign trail. He says he'll do whatever he can to keep that Republican majority.
He hasn't lost the beat yet. Thanks very much, Candy. Excellent report. Candy Crowley, and as you saw a few minutes ago, Bill Schneider are all part of the best political team on television. CNN, America's campaign headquarters. Up next, the run for the White House is still 2 years away. Who's topping the bill, though, in each party right now? Here's a hint. Can you say New York? And later, a big step in Baghdad. Iraq's prime minister rounds out his cabinet and completes the country's new government. The job ahead for Iraq's fledgling democracy. That's coming up in our next hour. Stay with us. You're in the Situation Room.
Millions of women who smoke put off quitting for fear of gaining weight. The Commit 4 milligram lozenge can help you gain less weight while you use it to quit smoking.
Homeowners with adjustable mortgages. If your monthly payment has increased or is about to increase, refinance now to a low fixed rate loan from Ditech.com. We'll guarantee the lowest rate and fees. Log on or call 1-800-71-FIXED.
A romantic vacation turns deadly. Was a 37-year-old woman pushed into the water? Accident or murder?
Nancy Grace, Headline Prime, tonight, 8 Eastern.
At Comcast, new opportunities are being created every day to push technology further, to inspire new ways of thinking, to connect every person with the rest of the world. That's why we need people who are willing to challenge themselves, people who see the world the way it is and the way it could be. Those with determination, commitment, and vision. Because together, we will shape the future.
Call today for the Gold Delta Sky Miles credit card from American Express and start earning double miles in more places more often. Apply now and get 17,500 bonus miles right away. With award tickets starting at just 25,000 miles, you can fly free sooner. Plus, the card is fee-free the first year. Call 1-800-SKY-MILES. Call now for the Gold Delta Sky Miles credit card and earn 2 miles for every eligible dollar you spend for even faster travel awards on Delta and 18 airline partners. Take advantage of this great offer today and get 17,500 miles closer to a free trip. Plus, enjoy the card fee-free the first year. Call 1-800-SKY-MILES now.
Dick and Jane.
Just remind him to be a little less vocal.
See Dick get fired.
Security! Hey, there's a fire! Somebody should call!
Watch Jane break down.
We may be in a little bit of a pickle, Dick.
Now watch Dick and Jane on pay-per-view.
Two ice smokers, let's go. Move it! Whoa, Jesus!
Jim Carrey, Tay Leone. Fun with Dick and Jane. Available now on pay-per-view.
Get it now on in-demand pay-per-view.
CNN, the most trusted name in news.
A major vote today in Congress over your taxes tops our political radar. The Senate rejected a Republican effort to cut taxes on inherited property. The estate tax is scheduled to end in 4 years. Republicans have been pushing to make the tax permanent. A 57-41 vote fell 3 votes short of advancing the bill. Senate Majority Leader Bill Frist calls it a death tax and says it's unfair, but top Senate Democrat Harry Reid says ending the tax would be a handout to the rich at the expense of all other Americans. President Bush made another pitch today that he and other future presidents should have the ability to make line item vetoes. To make his point, Mr. Bush called in some of the nation's governors, many of whom do have such power in their own states. David Paulison is now officially in charge of FEMA. He was sworn in at the agency's headquarters just a short time ago. Paulison had been acting director since last September when former director Michael Brown resigned in the wake of FEMA's botched response to Hurricane Katrina. And a new Gallup poll finds Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton with a wide lead over her other possible rivals in the race for the next Democratic presidential nomination. A distant second right now, former Vice President Al Gore, who says he has no intention of running for the White House in 2008. That's what he says. On the Republican side, former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani tops the list. He's a slight lead, has a slight lead, that is, over Senator John McCain, who you saw earlier right here in the Situation Room. Up next, Jack Cafferty joining us with his question of the hour. How will the death of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi change the course of the war in Iraq? We'll read your email. The death of a terrorist leader in Iraq is heard around the world. In our next hour, our Homeland Security correspondent Gene Meserve takes a closer look at how it might impact the U.S. home front. Stay with us. You're in The Situation.
Closed captioning sponsored by Selsun Blue. Never wear black without the blue. Selsun Blue.
Dandruff-free means dry, brittle hair.
Not anymore. New Selsun Salon. No flakes, no itch. Rich with vitamins and moisturizers. Selsun Salon. Sensational.
There are more than 29 million Americans without insurance who need help paying for their medicines. That's why there's the Partnership for Prescription Assistance. Through this free service, people who need help can call 1-888-4PPA now to see if they may qualify. Many get their medicines for free or nearly free, and I'm talking more than 2,500 brand name and generic medicines. Do you need help? Write down the number you see. It's your medicine. It's your life. It's your time to call.
Think you know all there is to know about getting your cholesterol right? You may be wrong, because getting bad cholesterol down might be just part of the equation. You may also want to get your good cholesterol up. Even more surprising, this cholesterol medicine does both. Crestor. Crestor, along with diet, can lower bad cholesterol by up to 52%. But Crestor also raises your good cholesterol. Down with the bad, up with the good. Is Crestor right for you? That's between you and your doctor. Crestor is not for everyone, including people with liver disease and women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Simple blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor about other medications you're taking, or if you experience muscle pain or weakness, as they may be a sign of serious side effects. Down with the bad, up with the good. Talk to your doctor about Crestor.
If you're without prescription coverage and can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
At GMC, our engineers seek out technology that can make our SUVs more efficient and apply it. Introducing the new 2007 GMC Yukon with active fuel management. It switches from 8 cylinders to 4, providing best-in-class fuel economy. Looking beyond the drawing board is just one more way we engineer to the highest standard, professional grade.
How do you measure a company? Do you look at where they've been? Do you look at what they've done? At Citgo, we're not resting on our past. We're looking forward to the future. Providing steady, secure access to the largest liquid reserves in the Western Hemisphere. Today and for generations to come.
Al-Qaeda's leader in Iraq, killed. Now what? No one covers the whole story like CNN. On air, online, on the ground, around the world. Stay with CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Jack's back with the Cafferty File. Jack.
Wolf, how will the death of al-Zarqawi affect the course of the war is the question. John in Pennsylvania writes, Jack, there'll be no long-term effect on the ground in Iraq, and things will not improve for us. If al-Qaeda had killed one of our top leaders, would we stop fighting them? Of course not. We'd be even more motivated. John in Alabama, Jack, al-Zarqawi's death will slow down the insurgency for a while, but insurgencies are like a cancerous growth. It might be stopped in one place, but spring up somewhere else in Iraq or the Middle East. John in New York, al-Zarqawi was a horrific man who died a horrible death. I'm glad he's gone, but I don't see the justification for the dancing in the streets. Seems we've done that dance before. I suspect we're in for more of the same daily accounts of more bloodletting, on and on and on and on. Where's the plan to end this nightmare? Scott writes, the death of al-Zarqawi won't affect the course of the war. As part of al-Qaeda, someone will just step up to replace him, although probably not as prominent. What will change the course of the war is the Iraqi government standing up for itself and running the country. John in Virginia Beach, Jack, al-Zarqawi was the only person in Iraq whose plans seem to be working. It is a short-term victory for the coalition, and all the politicians will ride it for all it's worth. And in 3 months, the situation will be the same or worse. Did the capture of Saddam make a difference? And Vince in Las Vegas, I'm not really sure how the death of al-Zarqawi will affect the course of the war, but unfortunately for Ann Coulter, it eliminates a perfect marriage prospect. One of my favorite letters.
Thank you, Jack, for that. Jack Cafferty. To our viewers, you're in the Situation Room, where new pictures and information are arriving all the time. Standing by, CNN reporters across the United States and around the world to bring you today's top stories. Happening now. Dead on target, no longer able to cheat death. Al-Qaeda's top man in Iraq is killed. It's 1 a.m. in Iraq, where U.S. forces took out Abu Musab al-Zarqawi in an airstrike. But if you cut off the head of al-Qaeda in Iraq, what happens to the body of the terror organization? Might al-Zarqawi's death be a cause for celebration or concern about more violence, maybe even here in the United States? And it's 5 p.m. here in Washington, where it's round 2 of a Republican family feud. In one corner, the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee. In the other, the vice president. At issue, the domestic spying program. I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room. Beheadings, bombings, body snatchings. Abu Musab al-Zarqawi is believed to have had the blood of thousands on his hands. But now Al-Qaeda's top man in Iraq is dead. He met his end after a U.S. airstrike last night in Iraq near Bakuba. And as one U.S. senator says, and I'm quoting now, there's a special place in hell reserved for him. Al-Zarqawi led the Al-Qaeda network in Iraq, whose attacks were as bloodthirsty as they were bold, including the 2003 suicide bombing of the United Nations headquarters in Baghdad that killed 22 people. And Al-Zarqawi is believed to have personally beheaded U.S. hostage Nicholas Berg in 2004. Today, President Bush hailed Al-Zarqawi's death and said it won't necessarily end the violence.
We can expect the terrorists and insurgents to carry on without him. We can expect the sectarian violence to continue. Yet the ideology of terror has lost one of its most visible and aggressive leaders. Zarqawi's death is a severe blow to Al-Qaeda. It's a victory in the global war on terror. And it is an opportunity for Iraq's new government to turn the tide of this struggle.
We have several reporters standing by. Our Gene Meserve is here in Washington. Mary Snow is in Wilmington, Delaware. Let's go to the Pentagon first. Our senior Pentagon correspondent, Jamie McIntyre. Jamie?
Well, Wolf, the U.S. military has come close to getting Zarqawi before, and how'd they get him this time? Well, the answer is good intelligence.
It was late afternoon, and 2 U.S. Air Force F-16Cs like these were on routine patrol over Iraq when their radios crackled with urgent new orders. The pilots were vectored to Bakuba and given coordinates for a single isolated house nestled in a palm and fig grove 8 clicks to the north. At 6:15 p.m., one of the F-16s dropped 2 500-pound bombs, one laser-guided, the other satellite-guided, after being told to make sure to take out the house in a way that would ensure a HVT, a high-value target, inside would be killed.
We had absolutely no doubt whatsoever that Zarqawi was in the house. It was 100% confirmation.
Why so sure? Pentagon sources say U.S. Special Operations troops had the house under surveillance and knew Zarqawi's location every minute. So sure were they that the F-16s were told it was not a time-sensitive target, so they could take their time. Sources say their bombs glided to the target from several miles away, so Zarqawi wouldn't hear the planes and be tipped off. An Air Force commander says the rubble tells the story of why 2 500-pound bombs were needed. The safe house was a solidly built structure made of reinforced concrete. The second bomb was to ensure the blast killed anyone inside the building.
And that included Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, which General George Casey, the top commander in Iraq, said his death was confirmed by his physical appearance, his fingerprints, and some scars. They're also going to do some DNA tests to make sure. And right after they made that confirmation, Wolf, they launched raids on 17 different locations around Baghdad, in and around Baghdad, and they say that those raids have netted a, quote, a treasure trove of intelligence for further actions against the insurgents. Wolf?
Jamie, thanks very much. Jamie McIntyre is our man at the Pentagon. Al-Zarqawi's deeds extend far beyond Iraq. Our John Voss is in Iraq and has more details on that.
Zarqawi was the most wanted man in Iraq. with a $25 million bounty on his head, responsible for some of the most brutal crimes against Iraqi civilians over the past 2 years. His reach stretched beyond this country to his native Jordan, also to Morocco as well as Turkey. Officials, though, here have stressed that Zarqawi's death will not bring an end to the violence. They do say, however, it is an important step along the way. Wolf.
All right, John, thank you. Today there was confirmation of what John Voss just reported, that al-Zarqawi's death will not necessarily end the violence. Gunmen killed the brother of an Iraqi governor in a brazen drive-by shooting in Mosul. He was just leaving a mosque after evening prayers. Also today, separate bombings left another 37 people dead. The violence somewhat overshadowed another positive item out of Iraq today. The nation completed its unity government. Appointed were the ministers of defense, interior, and national security. That's considered important for Iraq to develop its police and armed forces to restore law and order. Coming up, I'll ask the U.S. ambassador in Iraq, Zalmay Khalilzad, about all of today's developments in Iraq. He's going to be joining us here in the Situation Room. Al-Qaeda is responding to the death of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi online. Our internet reporter Jackie Schechner is standing by with details. Jackie?
Well, if this is one site where that statement from Al-Qaeda in Iraq appeared, we've confirmed it here at CNN and with internet terrorism expert Laura Mansfield. You can see where the statement's posted at the top, and then like any message board, there are replies and comments underneath it. We've translated it from Arabic. Let me read you an excerpt. It says, "The death of our leaders brings life to us and does not bring us except more insistence to continue the struggle until the word of God becomes the highest. We swear that we will continue to fight to death to establish God's doctrine in the land of two rivers, and we assure our nation that the enemy will not infiltrate through us." You can go online to cnn.com/situation report. We've linked to the latest on al-Zarqawi's death. Wolf.
Thank you, Jackie, for that. In our security watch, al-Zarqawi's death is raising concerns about a possible revenge attack right here in the United States. Let's bring in our Homeland Security correspondent, Jean Meserve. Jean?
Well, officials have not found evidence a retaliatory strike is coming, but they have not stopped looking.
Abu Musab al-Zarqawi never explicitly threatened to hit inside the United States, though some officials believed he might try. With his death, the FBI is instructing its agents in the U.S. and overseas to review with local law enforcement ongoing investigations and intelligence in hopes of detecting any possible retaliatory strikes. But the Bureau says at this time there is no specific or credible threat, and the nation's color-coded threat level remains unchanged at yellow or elevated.
We've always been mindful of, what kind of threat he poses, and we continue to be focused on these issues.
Obviously, our officials are watching this very carefully, looking for all information they can, but there's no sense of panic, no sense of concern.
In New York, where security was status quo, the mayor pointed out there is no reason for relief either.
I don't think you should worry about, are you safer today than you were yesterday, or are you more in danger? The world probably is better off without this person, but there are plenty of other people that we have to bring to justice.
One concern, self-contained terror cells with no direct tie with Zarqawi that might be motivated to stage an attack to avenge his death. A Department of Homeland Security official says we have to be vigilant for sympathizers.
Military and intelligence officials hope the rubble from the strike on al-Zarqawi and the 17 raids that followed will yield clues that could disrupt attacks overseas and here at home. Wolf?
Thank you, Jean, for that. And to our viewers, stay tuned to CNN day and night for the most reliable news about your security. Let's go back to New York. Jack Cafferty once again with the Cafferty File. Jack?
President Bush said today, Wolf, it ain't going to work. Very nice. He's talking about the U.S. deporting millions of illegal aliens from the United States. Mr. Bush told a group of Hispanic leaders that the current system is broken and Congress needs to pass common sense reform to secure the border. President Bush has been in office 5 years, and he's just now getting around to focusing on securing the borders. Forget the laws that are already on the books that concern illegal aliens. They're all being ignored. But Washington wants to pass new laws. It's a joke. Mr. Bush wants to let more foreigners in to work temporarily, and he wants to give those who sneaked in here illegally years ago a chance to become citizens. That, boys and girls, is called amnesty. Members of his own party say he ought to find the illegal aliens here already and send them home. The country tried amnesty in 1986. Didn't work then. That's one of the big reasons we have the problems we have now. But Mr. Bush says it's impractical to force these 12 million illegal aliens to leave. And besides, Mr. Bush's buddies own the big corporations, and they like to hire the illegal aliens because they're cheap and they're scared and you don't have to pay them any benefits. Here's the question. President Bush says deportation of illegal aliens ain't going to work. Do you agree? Email us at CaffertyFile@CNN.com or go to CNN.com/CaffertyFile. Wolf.
Jack, thank you. And if you want a sneak preview of Jack's questions, plus an early read on the day's political news, what's ahead in the Situation Room, sign up for our daily email alert. Just go to CNN.com/Situation Room. That's where you can do it. Up ahead. His was the first in a series of brutal beheadings blamed on Abu Musab al-Zarqawi. Now the father of Nicholas Berg speaks out on the terrorist's death, and it's not the reaction you probably are going to expect. Also, what impact will the death of the most wanted terrorist in Iraq have on the U.S. mission there and political fortunes here? Plus, what about the world's most wanted terrorists? Can the same methods that led to al-Zarqawi lead to U.S. forces to Osama bin Laden? Stay with us. You're in the Situation Room.
After you.
Oh, thanks.
Have a nice day.
UPS, covering more ground faster than ever.
If you have an adjustable or interest-only mortgage, now may be the time to refinance and lock in today's low fixed rate from Ditech.com. We'll also guarantee you the lowest rate and fee. Log on or call 1-800-71-FIX.
The country's imagination has officially been captured. Introducing the new 2006 Lincoln Zephyr. See your dealer today and capture this attractive offer. Lincoln, reach higher.
Tell me, energy companies, tell me what's behind the price of gas.
Tell me why world demand for crude oil
Determines what I pay
at the pump.
Tell me, how will I be able to drive my kids to school?
To school.
To work. To work. Tell me.
Tell me where my energy will come from. Tell me the truth. Tell me the truth.
Tell me how you're investing in this country.
Researching alternative fuels.
Tell me what you're doing.
And what I
can do. Tell me more about the future of energy.
Ask questions, get answers from America's oil and natural gas industry.
The best of Joseph A. Bank. Signature suits, $3.99. Trio suits and executive suits, only $1.99. Even our famous summer suits, $179. Plus, spring sport coats, $149. And dress pants, $89. How about extra bonuses like silk polos and crews, traveler shorts, even pinpoint dress shirts, $39. Only at Joseph A. Bank. Now through Monday.
Last year, Norfolk Southern and its shipping partners took hundreds of thousands of freight loads off the highway. In fact, they've invested millions to convert even more traffic in the coming years. So it's easy to see how the economy won't be the only thing that benefits. Norfolk Southern, the future of transportation.
More now on our top story, the death of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, the leader of al-Qaeda in Iraq, killed in a U.S. airstrike in Baquba. The question now, what impact will the death of the most wanted terrorist in Iraq have on the insurgency and on the U.S. mission there? Our senior analyst, Jeff Greenfield, is joining us from New York with more. Jeff?
Wolf, the death of a man who celebrated indiscriminate killing and who claimed to have personally beheaded American captive Nicholas Berg can certainly be seen as a piece of unalloyed good news. But if you try to look at that news through the prism of domestic politics, here's a cautionary note. Clearly, the U.S. and Iraqi governments were happy to spread the evidence that a highly visible force in the insurgency had been killed. And they were careful as well not to use the kind of photographic evidence that they used in July 2003, when two sons of Saddam Hussein were killed in Mosul. When Uday and Qusay Hussein were killed, support for the American effort in Iraq was at 60%. By the end of 2003, support had dropped to 50%. But then, in mid-December of that year, Saddam Hussein was captured, and support for the Iraqi policy jumped to 61%. But since then, approval of the situation in Iraq has fallen almost without a break, in spite of bright spots. The transfer of sovereignty to Iraq in June 2004, the massive turnout in January 2005 for transitional elections, another huge turnout to approve a new constitution in October of 2005, the appointment of a new prime minister in April of this year. Today, approval of the president's Iraq policy is down to 34%. The key to whether those numbers get better may well lie in the answer to one question. Will the death of Zarqawi lessen the level of violence against Americans and against Iraqis of differing religious beliefs? Here, the words of a high-ranking Jordanian intelligence official, quoted in the forthcoming Atlantic Monthly magazine, are worth noting. After arguing that the United States had vastly exaggerated the role of Zarqawi, the official said, quote, "If Zarqawi is captured or killed tomorrow, the Iraqi insurgency will go on." Now, the president said as much today when he said the tough days lie ahead, but the key question here domestically is whether the removal of this one enemy will actually make a difference to the safety and stability of that country. Wolf?
What did you make of the president's tone and substance of his remarks at the White House earlier today?
I think it was a lesson learned from some of the triumphalist remarks that were made a couple of years ago after Saddam fell so quickly, when a banner behind him proclaimed mission accomplished. I think the whole tone of the president's message to Americans is, even if we got this good news, we've been burned before, we know there's tough times ahead, this is a big triumph, but let's not celebrate. I think the president himself in that joint press conference, I think with Tony Blair, indicated that some of his language in the past may have been misguided. I think they were being very careful not to say, okay, everything's cool.
Jeff Greenfield, thank you very much. Some Americans had never heard of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi before the infamous videotaped beheading of American contractor Nicholas Berg. You might be surprised at his father's reaction to news of al-Zarqawi's death. He spoke to our Mary Snow, and Mary Snow is joining us now from Wilmington, Delaware. Mary?
Well, Wolf, that videotape still haunts Michael Berg, and even though it's believed that al-Zarqawi personally beheaded his son, Berg says this is a horrible day in his words, and says that he does not believe this brings any sense of justice. When you heard the news today, tell me your thoughts.
I think it's a tragedy when any human being dies, but Zarqawi's doubly, because Zarqawi, aside from being someone's son who's now going to suffer what my family has suffered, he is also a political figure. And he and George Bush are involved in this cycle of revenge, and revenge begets revenge.
Nick Berg was beheaded 25 months ago. The younger Berg was taken hostage while trying to sell phone contracts in Iraq. He was a Bush supporter. Now his father, Michael, compares that same president to al-Zarqawi.
I think that one is cowardly. The man in the Oval Office doesn't look at his victims when he kills them.
So are you saying that Zarqawi committed a brave act?
No, I'm not saying Zarqawi committed a brave act. I abhor what he did. I'm just saying that he looked in Nick's eyes when he killed him.
Since his son's death, Berg has been outspoken on the Iraq War and is now campaigning for U.S. Congress in Delaware. He carries with him a poster featuring this picture of his son, surrounded by masked killers, Nick Berg's final moments alive.
I will never forget that picture, and I will never let the world forget that picture as long as I can help it.
Michael Berg talked to us away from his Wilmington home to protect his family's privacy. He says Zarqawi's death brings back the pain.
Having the media attention brings it back to the way it was. Having the knot in my gut brings it back the way it was. Having people question my passivity, my forgiveness brings it all back.
Now, Michael Berg is the only one in his family who's speaking out. In fact, he came to his campaign manager's house to speak to the press today. He says he feels he's obligated to speak out, to do his part in what he says end a cycle of revenge. Wolf?
Mary Snow, I'm glad you went to Wilmington to get us that story. Thank you very much. Mary Snow reporting. Coming up, new developments in the Republican family feud you first saw here in the Situation Room. Now the Vice President Dick Cheney is responding to a blistering letter from Senator Arlen Specter. Plus, my interview with the United States Ambassador to Iraq, Zalmay Khalilzad. I'll ask him what impact he thinks the death of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi will have. Stay with us.
Will you be hauling 7 tons of sheet metal? Or 70 pounds of plywood? 12,000 pounds of cattle? Or a little something for a do-it-yourself job? We can't be certain how you'll use your GMC Sierra heavy-duty pickup, so we engineered it with the most available horsepower and torque in its class. GMC, engineered to the highest standard, professional grade.
The biggest thing in business is actually quite small. Introducing the Motorola Q. Ultra thin, fully loaded. It's the world's slimmest smartphone. Exclusively from the nation's largest high-speed wireless broadband network. Available now at Verizon Wireless stores everywhere. Verizon Wireless, it's the network.
E-Trade introduces the latest investing technology. With an easy-to-use risk analyzer and powerful asset allocation tool for unparalleled control of your portfolio. Is it any wonder investors everywhere find it irresistible? Be enlightened.
CNN, all new tonight at 10. The so-called Prince of Al-Qaeda in Iraq, killed in a U.S.-led airstrike, taking out a terrorist.
It's June, and things are heating up. Time to lose your inhibitions and go topless at the beach. With a new Honda, Pontiac, and Ford convertible up for grabs in the month of June, dropping your top will be easy. If you don't feel comfortable with your top down, you can always cover up with 20 grand cash. Just play slots, table games, bingo, or Keno to earn entries. Each week, the grand prize winner will choose a convertible or $20,000 cash. Chinook Winds Casino Resort, where dropping your top is better at the beach.
This is not a hobby. This is a way to stand up against the big phone company. But nobody should have to pay high phone bills. As a last resort, I will use the arrow. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Halt! Phone company varlet!
Fight back against high phone bills.
Freedom!
Save more than 13% over the phone company with Comcast Digital Voice. It's Comcastic. Switch to Comcast Digital Voice risk-free and get all your Comcast services on one bill.
Don't wait an hour for morning news. 6 a.m. CNN American Morning tomorrow.
Right now, there are new developments in the Republican family feud you first heard about here in the Situation Room yesterday. It pits a powerful Republican senator against none other than the vice president. At issue, the nation's domestic spying program. Let's bring in our Brian Todd. He's got the latest. Brian?
Wolf, when Vice President Cheney received a harshly worded letter from Senator Arlen Specter, Cheney's office said he needed time to study it. Now he's had time and has responded in classic Cheney fashion.
In choosing not to pick a fight with another powerful Republican over the administration's secret wiretapping program, Dick Cheney doesn't seem willing to give in much either. Cheney responds to a blistering letter from Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Arlen Specter with a letter of his own. Quote, "The administration will listen to the ideas of legislators about terrorist surveillance legislation and work with them in good faith."
I think clearly the vice president was trying to soothe the senator's concerns. He wasn't confrontational. At the same time, he wasn't willing to change the White House's position.
The exchange is over Specter's probe of the Bush administration's warrantless surveillance program. Specter, furious with Cheney for going behind Specter's back to prevent the testimony before the Judiciary Committee of telecommunications executives from companies like Bell South. The senator fired off a letter to Cheney on Wednesday. Quote, "I was surprised, to say the least, that you sought to influence, really determine the action of the committee without calling me first." Specter implied he might try to subpoena some White House officials. He then spoke with Wolf Blitzer in the Situation Room.
This is a matter of civil liberties, it's a matter of separation of power, and it's a matter of important congressional oversight, and so far, we're not getting there.
Cheney and other White House officials are concerned that if telecom executives testify, it might compromise sensitive information. To Spector's complaint that he was not told Cheney had gone through other Republican senators to block the telecom official's testimony, Cheney wrote, "These communications are not unusual. They are the government at work."
Now, reacting to Cheney's letter, Spector indicated to CNN he is willing to let this standoff play out for the moment. But Spector also likely doesn't have the votes in his own committee to force the telecom executives or White House officials to testify. Wolf?
Brian, thank you very much. Coming up, more on our top story, the death of al-Qaeda's leader in Iraq, Abu Musab al-Zarqawi. I'll ask the U.S. ambassador to Iraq, Zalmay Khalilzad, what the effect will be of this killing, and if he thinks Americans should be worried about retaliation strikes here at home. And a new poll asks, who do you trust most on the issue of immigration? Would it be President Bush or would it be Lou Dobbs? We'll tell you. Stay with us.
He crashed that drive, and Jack picks up still another birdie. Birdie country again.
If he put together his best shots from every hole of the Masters, Jack Nicklaus would turn in a card of 48.
That's about as close to flawless golf as you'll ever see.
I was always going, having to go in the middle of traffic and just starting and stopping, having to go in the middle of a ball game and then not being able to go once I got there, and going at night, going and going. I thought I had a going problem. My doctor said I had a growing problem. It wasn't my bladder. My prostate was growing. I had an enlarging prostate. My doctor prescribed Avodart.
Most medicines only treat symptoms. Avodart, with time, actually shrinks the prostate and improves urinary symptoms.
So I can go more easily when I need to go, and go less often.
Only your doctor can tell if your symptoms are from an enlarged prostate and not a more serious condition such as prostate cancer, so have regular prostate exams. Avodart is for men only. Women should not take or handle Avodart due to the risk of a specific birth defect. Tell your doctor if you have liver disease. Rarely, sexual side effects, tenderness, or swelling of the breast can occur.
Call your doctor today. Avodart for your growing problem.
My spaceship would have special passageways, secret places to hide things, and a place to watch everything. So powerful it can go past Mars in 2 seconds. And shields all around, so I can protect myself from aliens. In my spaceship, I am the captain.
Introducing the all-new Hyundai Entourage, with the best crash test rating ever for a minivan.
Let's see, we got Vonage a couple of months ago. It was easy to install. I mean, I'm not really technical at all, and I did it myself. Look, so I just used our old phone, and it costs less too. It's just $24.99 a month, and that includes voicemail, call waiting, caller ID, and a lot more at no extra charge. So we just love it.
We're not out to change the world, just the way you talk to it. Sign up now and get your first month free.
Call 1-800-399-5210. High-speed internet connection required.
They are among the most prestigious awards in news. And this year, only one news organization won them both. Essential reporting from CNN, the most trusted and most honored name in news.
Welcome back to the Situation Room. I'm Wolf Blitzer in Washington. Let's get some more now on our top story. U.S. jets dropped 2 500-pound bombs on a safe house near Baquba, and Abu Musab al-Zarqawi likely didn't have the time to know what hit him. But what impact will the al-Qaeda leader's death have in Iraq and elsewhere? And joining us now is the United States Ambassador in Baghdad, Zalmay Khalilzad. Mr. Ambassador, thanks very much for joining us. A big day for you, a big day for the Iraqi people. I want to play for you a short little excerpt of what Senator Joe Biden said earlier today on CNN. Listen to this.
I hope this has a catalytic impact on the violence, but I predict to you that 2 weeks from now, you're going to be showing people being ripped off of buses and beheaded still. I think you're going to be seeing every morning, you're still going to see 10 to 50 people found with their arms chained behind their back and shot in the head. I hope I'm wrong about that.
Is he wrong about that, Mr. Ambassador?
Well, we'll have to see. I think what happened today with the killing of Zarqawi was a very important step as also the establishment of the full government of national unity was another important step. It provides an opportunity for Iraqis to come together to end sectarian violence, but it's not going to come about immediately. I believe that in the coming few days there is a danger of escalation by the terrorists to demonstrate that they are still relevant and that they might take revenge. But strategically, what happened with Zarqawi and with his government, they were very positive and necessary steps.
When you talk about an escalation of terrorism, is that only in Iraq, or should we be worried outside of Iraq here in the United States right now?
Well, I'm focused obviously on Iraq. We just had a meeting with the leadership of Iraq, and they are worried about possible car bomb attacks in the aftermath of the Friday prayer as an act of revenge by the terrorists, and they're considering banning driving of cars around mosques or in the city of Baghdad and Barkuba around the prayer time, perhaps between 11 and 3 o'clock tomorrow.
Tony Blair, the British Prime Minister, says there will be fierce attempts by insurgents with the formation of the government, with the death of al-Zarqawi, to fight back. In the short term, could it get worse?
I would not rule that out. Of course, that's one possibility. The other is that they might kind of lay back or lie low and regroup. Both are possibilities, and we have to prepare for both options. As I said, we just discussed some of these things with the Iraqi leaders and are preparing both in terms of defensive measures in case they escalate, but also for political and security offensive measures to take advantage of possible opportunities that might arise as a result of what happened to Zarqawi.
Is there a new Zarqawi? Who takes over for him? Is there a logical successor?
Not that I know of. It's possible that they could appoint someone else, but he was a unique person at this point because he had the knowledge, the connection, the charisma, the star power, and the experience that at this point someone else does not appear to, at least we do not know of, that could have. But this was a significant setback for Al-Qaeda globally and for Al-Qaeda in Iraq and for those who want Iraq to fail.
Who has custody, Mr. Ambassador, of his body right now?
We do.
The United States?
Absolutely.
Will that remain? Will you allow him to be buried either in Iraq or in Jordan, where he's from?
Well, those are issues that have not been decided yet. He is in the custody of the United States military forces.
What about the $25 million reward that was offered for his capture or his death? Is there someone who's going to get that, or a group of individuals who might now be eligible for that $25 million?
Not that I'm aware of. The information that led to his location and to the attack that subsequently took place came from those that were arrested, senior members of Al-Qaeda in Iraq that are in our custody.
Was there help from the government of Jordan? He's from Jordan, as you well know. Was Jordanian assistance provided that helped to this event?
Jordan has played a helpful role, and it played a positive role in the confirmation of the identification of Zarqawi after he was killed. We had this issue of to make sure that we had the person we thought we had, and Jordan did play a positive role in that.
One final question, collateral damage. Were innocent civilians, as far as you know, killed in this double bombing, two 500-pound bombs?
Not that I'm aware of. The total number as of this morning that was found in the location were 7, and it's possible that the number could change as the investigation and the examination of the site continues.
Mr. Ambassador, as I always say to you when we end these interviews, good luck to you. Good luck to all the people of Iraq. Be safe over there. Thanks for joining us in the Situation Room.
Well, it's good to be with you again, Wolf.
And this programming note, please join me Saturday night for a CNN special, Iraq, A Week at War. We'll take an in-depth look at the latest major developments, including the death of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi. That's Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, only here on CNN. Meanwhile, one terrorist down, many more to go. Among them, a man over 6 feet tall who stands out also for the boldest attacks against the United States. Yet Osama bin Laden is cheated death and captured despite the unending search for him. More now from our Pentagon correspondent, Barbara Starr. Barbara?
Wolf, it was a question we asked on our recent trip to Afghanistan. What about Osama bin Laden? U.S. troops got Abu Musab al-Zarqawi the old-fashioned way, tracking tips and assembling intelligence. And that is why, 4.5 years after the 9/11 attacks, it is still so hard to get Osama bin Laden.
We will keep after him until one day he is either captured or killed.
Lieutenant General Carl Eikenberry commands 23,000 troops in Afghanistan, but they don't operate across the border in Pakistan, where bin Laden is believed to be sheltered by loyal tribes and Taliban fighters. As the hunt has continued, the war in Afghanistan, like in Iraq, has taken a grim turn. The U.S. military says it's fighting an insurgency now here in Afghanistan, and a counterinsurgency campaign, they say, could take years to succeed. The assessment? The Taliban are stronger now than anyone expected, especially in the south and east along the border.
The fight has not diminished, but they have had time to reorganize. They've had time to assess the situation, both in Afghanistan and with the coalition forces. They've had time to recruit more. They've had time to get funding.
But Eikenberry knows unless there is a lucky tip and he can get a weapon launched quickly, getting bin Laden will be tough.
We have an obligation to one day either kill or capture bin Laden for the purpose of justice to the American people and indeed to the entire world for the misery that this man has inflicted. And we keep faith with that.
Intelligence officials tell CNN they continue to get unverified reports of bin Laden sightings. If one of those tips did pan out, the greatest likelihood is that the CIA would immediately launch a drone carrying a Hellfire missile and attempt to kill the world's most wanted man. Wolf.
All right, Barbara, thank you very much. Barbara Starr is at the Pentagon. Lou Dobbs getting ready for his program that begins right at the top of the hour. He's standing by to tell us what he's working on. Lou?
Well, thank you very much. Coming up at 6 p.m. Eastern here, we'll have the complete story of how the U.S. military tracked down al-Qaeda's top man in Iraq, Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, in his final hiding place northeast of Baghdad. Also joining me tonight, two of the country's most respected experts on Iraq, on what Zarqawi's death really means for U.S. policy and the conduct of the war in Iraq. Also, as the United States faces a terrorist threat here at home, Congress is refusing to close a loophole that would allow a terrorist to get into this country. We'll have that special report and why the U.S. government is refusing tonight to step in and stop the foreign takeover of our nation's airlines. Another great American giveaway. We hope you'll be with us for that and a great deal more. Wolf, back to you.
I don't know, Lou, if you saw a poll today that was in the Washington Post. It was put out by a company called MWR Strategies. It asked the question, an intriguing question, when it comes to Americans' trust on the immigration issue, who do you trust more, the president or Lou Dobbs? Look at this. Lou Dobbs gets 37%. President Bush gets 31%. Don't know or refuse to answer. 32%. What do you think about that?
Well, I think I need to talk to that 32% who don't know. We've got to have a real discussion about that. No, it's very, very flattering, Wolf.
Lou Dobbs does better than President Bush on the immigration, at least in this poll. I can't vouch for MWR Strategies. You know anything about, are they relatives or anything?
It's really very simple. We can vouch for the Washington Post, one of the best, if not the best, news brands in all of the nation.
All right, Lou Dobbs. He's trusted by 37% of those who answered the question in that poll. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Wolf. Appreciate it.
See you in a few moments. Still to come, death of a man. What now for the mission? Might the killing of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi mean lower levels of violence in Iraq? We'll debate that and more in our strategy session. And the USS Cole takes on a new mission 6 years after a terror attack blew a hole in its side. It's on the way. It's heading back to the region, the USS Cole. And you're in the situation.
Will you be hauling 7 tons of sheet metal? Or 70 pounds of plywood? 12,000 pounds of cattle? Or a little something for a do-it-yourself job? We can't be certain how you'll use your GMC Sierra heavy-duty pickup, so we engineered it with the most available horsepower and torque in its class. GMC, engineered to the highest standard, professional grade.
When it comes to good health, heart disease is a common enemy.
My mother has heart disease. Will I develop it too?
How can I prevent heart disease? Are there new medicines available?
For answers, ask your doctor or visit these websites. Researchers at America's pharmaceutical companies are working on 146 new medicines to fight heart disease and strokes, partnering with healthcare providers to better inform patients about treatment options. Go online and learn, because knowledge is the best medicine of all.
You have a prototype, they have a prototype. You have overseas suppliers, they have overseas suppliers. You have low-cost manufacturing, they have low-cost manufacturing. You have packaging, they have packaging. You have an ad agency, they have an ad agency. You have a supply chain that flies through customs, bypasses warehouses, and gets your product on the shelves faster. They have a new ad agency.
What happens if your business model changes every 4 hours? Because we consider what might change tomorrow, our customers can feel more relaxed about what might happen today. Zurich, because change happens.
Are you getting enough fiber in your diet? To get the 25 to 30 grams of daily fiber you need for ongoing good health, what else would you have time for? That's why there's great tasting Fiber Choice, the chewable fiber supplement. Each bottle contains 180 grams of fiber. You'd need more than 3 bottles of fiber pills at 3 times the price to get the same amount. And try new Fiber Choice Plus Calcium with as much calcium as 14 ounces of milk in each dose. Fiber Choice, original and new Plus Calcium chewable tablets.
What can you expect from a world-leading bank? That we provide the brain and brawn to help you succeed. With passion for your company, for your investments, for everything that's important to you. Expect the better solution. Deutsche Bank, a passion to perform.
Only one news network has been the most trusted for nearly 2 decades. CNN. Still the most trusted name in news.
Closed captioning provided by Head On. Head On applied directly to the forehead.
Head On, applied directly to the forehead. Head On, applied directly to the forehead. Head On, applied directly to the forehead. Head On is available without a prescription at retailers nationwide.
We're just getting this into CNN. New developments concerning embattled Congressman William Jefferson. Top House Democrats are meeting behind closed doors just a few minutes from now on what to do regarding Congressman Jefferson. He's the congressman from New Orleans who's the target of a federal investigation into alleged bribery. The FBI says $90,000 allegedly bribed money was found in his freezer. Top Democrats want Jefferson to step down from the powerful Ways and Means Committee. Yesterday, they gave him a chance to defend himself on why he should not be removed from that committee position. Jefferson has not been charged with anything, and he says there are 2 sides to the story. We'll watch the story for you and bring you more once we get it. Today in our strategy session, what will the death of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi mean for the overall U.S. mission in Iraq? Will this help decrease the violence, or is it more of a symbolic victory? Joining us now are CNN political analyst, Democratic strategist Donna Brazile, and former Pentagon spokeswoman Tori Clark. Here's what the president said today in his remarks, Donna, in explaining what happened.
We can expect the terrorists and insurgents to carry on without him.
We can expect the sectarian violence to continue. Yet the ideology of terror has lost one of its most visible and aggressive leaders.
There was no major gloating or declaring victory or mission accomplished. There was a very, very balanced assessment, right?
Absolutely, and I thought the president toned the day, and the tone from the Pentagon and other sources was very good. Look, the president is right. There may be an upsurge in violence over the next couple of weeks, so some of his sympathizers may try to go back out there and establish their mojo, but this is an opportunity for the Sunnis to really come into the political process, for the prime minister to try to end the sectarian violence. This is a small opening, but don't be surprised if some of his sympathizers, some of his followers don't go out there and try to resurrect his image.
He struck the right note, is that right?
Oh, it was absolutely the right note, the right tone, very serious, making it very clear there's a lot of work that lies ahead. But you have to focus on both ends of it. He was an awful, awful person, personally responsible for the death of thousands and thousands of people. It is a very good thing that he is dead and gone. But the long-term success is going to be a series of efforts and an incredible willpower.
Did John Boehner, the House Majority Leader, strike the right note when he said this? Listen to this.
I think Zarqawi's death, or as I like to say, taking the head off the snake, will in fact help us win. And anything that helps us win, that brings good news, will certainly help, frankly, all members, both sides of the aisle, as they run for re-election.
It's a political word. He says that this is going to help Republicans win in November.
I don't think anybody, let's say for at least 24 hours, we don't think about political considerations.
Well, he didn't wait 24 hours.
I know, I'm just saying, I wish people would, including us, and just focus on the importance of getting rid of an awful person like Zarqawi and how important it is to success in Iraq and the safety of this country and the American people. That's what we ought to stay focused on.
It's an upbeat assessment. It's a very glowing assessment. But it's unlikely that in this town anybody's going to pay attention to what Tory is saying. We can always hope.
There's no room for political spin in this debate. Look, we want a democratic Iraq. We want our troops to come home. We want 2006 to be a year of significant progress. So let's hope that the Prime Minister now that he has a full government, that he can get on the road to democracy.
Here's how Nancy Pelosi, the Democratic leader in the House, put it. Listen.
I salute the efforts of the American troops who have worked tirelessly to track down the terrorist Zarqawi. His death and the naming of the Iraqi Defense and Interior Ministers should hasten the day when Iraqis take responsibility for their security and American troops can come home.
She was taking a high road.
She was.
That's good, right?
That's very good.
That's important because, again, we want our troops to come home, and this is an important step in that milestone that we must achieve to get them home.
If there's any downside to this, and it's just a slight downside to the news today, is that we don't have the time to focus on the importance of those two posts being filled. The
How
defense minister
important is that, Tori? The fact that there's a defense minister, an interior minister, a national security minister?
It's not just that they have those ministers, it's the process that they went through to get those ministers. These were not people who got their jobs just because they were political favorites. They got the jobs because they were known as people, serious, inclusive, really can get engaged in a serious way in the government. So it's the fact that those important posts are filled with such serious people.
You heard Mitch McConnell, a Republican senator, suggest today, well, maybe they should go ahead. He's the whip. Maybe they should go ahead and have a vote on some of the Democrats' proposals for withdrawal from Iraq right now. Clearly, he'd like to embarrass a lot of Democrats. What do you make of that?
Another round of political posturing. After this a vote yesterday on same-sex marriage, people need to get over the political posturing. This is serious. You now have a Sunni head of the defense ministry. You have a Shia involved in the interior ministry. This is an opportunity to tell the Shia militia and the Sunnis and the former Baathists to come to the political table. There's a seat for everybody. Let's get on with democracy so the Iraqi people can stand up. They can get out of the green zone and bring our troops home.
One final question. We only have a few seconds. Why did they wait, do you believe, so long? The president was briefed on this yesterday afternoon around 4 p.m. And then throughout the night, they obviously knew what was going on. And it wasn't until middle of the night, 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning, that word began to filter that this had occurred.
Unfortunately, it's not a short answer. One, you want to be absolutely sure you've got who you think you have. And two, you want this vacuum that's created. When people like that go silent, you want want that vacuum might stir up other information, other intel from other sources who wonder what happened to their leader Zarqawi and his pals.
If you were still at the Pentagon, they would have woken you up in the middle of the night. You'd be exhausted.
I'd be very happy to be awoken for that call.
Tori and Donna, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And as our viewers know, they're part of the best political team on television, CNN, America's campaign headquarters. Up next, President Bush says deportation of illegal aliens, in his words, ain't gonna work. Do you agree? Jack Cafferty will have your email on the question of the hour. Plus, the government approves a cancer vaccine. We'll have details of what some are calling one of the most important health advances in years. Stay with us.
Homeowners with adjustable mortgages. If your monthly payment has increased or is about to increase, refinance now to a low fixed rate loan from Ditech.com. We'll guarantee the lowest rate and fees. Log on or call 1-800-71-FIXED.
Before it became my pride, it was my passion.
Too often, political correctness is all about controlling language. We have to tell it like it is.
Lou Dobbs tonight. CNN coming up next.
You can really see the difference at Willamette View, Portland's premier accredited senior residence. You'll love the lifestyle and the views from our landscaped acreage on the Willamette River. A variety of activities, social, cultural, and wellness programs, and involved and vibrant residents are at the center of this senior community. Come see our newly renovated apartment options and discover the difference for yourself. Come see why Willamette View got its name.
Where do you want your next home to be? How about here? Near here? Or here? Just come to cbseal.com. See every house in one place. The interactive home search finds everything close to where you want to live. All from the comfort of your home.
Hey, look at this one.
Oh yeah, that's more like it.
Looking for a new home? Watch the Tour of Homes brought to you daily by Coldwell Banker Barbara Sue Seal Properties on Comcast Cable Channel 15.
Finding your next car doesn't have to be complicated. VHIX.com makes it easy with a huge inventory of cars ready and waiting on dealer lots near you. VHIX lets you select the color you're after, read informative reviews, even use the online payment calculator. If you want a smart way to find the car that's right for you, search for it at VHIX.com. Click Auto on Comcast.net.
It's the spectacular RE/MAX Tigard Festival of Balloons, June 16th, 17th, and 18th. See daily morning balloon launches, the dazzling Northwest Natural Night Glow. Check out Landmark Ford's Classic Cruise In, and get into the Hagen 5K Run. You'll find great bargains at the craft fair and flea market, and awesome live music on the Comcast stages, plus a whole lot more. Don't miss the RE/MAX Tigard Festival of Balloons, June 16th through the 18th.
CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Let's check in with Zane once again for a quick look at some other important stories making news. Zane?
Wolf, the Food and Drug Administration is giving its approval to the first vaccine against cervical cancer. The vaccine's produced by Merck & Company and will be sold under the name of Gardasil. Studies show that cervical cancer can be traced to a sexually transmitted virus that has more than 70 types. Gardasil protects against the 4 most significant types. Merck expects the vaccine to be available late this summer. The USS Cole is bound for its first Middle East mission since a 2000 terrorist attack in Yemen blew a hole in its side. The destroyer left port in Norfolk, Virginia today. The ship was joined by a submarine and 5 other ships to conduct security operations supporting the war on terror. Its crew of 320 is expected to be at sea for 6 months. David Pauluson's formally taken over the reins of the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Paulison was sworn in during a ceremony at FEMA headquarters in Washington this afternoon. He succeeds Michael Brown, who left the post after taking a lot of heat for his handling, or some say mishandling, of the crisis following Hurricane Katrina. Wolf?
Thank you, Zane, for that. Zane Vergia reporting. The United States spends more than $60 billion on correctional facilities each year, but are the nation's 5,000 prisons and jails getting the job done? A new report says no. Jackie Schechter has details. Jackie?
Well, if according to this report, 1.5 million people leave our nation's prisons and jails every year with a life-threatening communicable disease, and that could be fixed by a better health care system on the inside. This is according to a report. It's a commission that was put together to study our nation's correctional facilities. It was organized by a nonprofit prisoners' rights group. What they found is that violence is a big problem due in part to overcrowding, due to prisoner inactivity, and prisoners not having enough contact with families. They also found out that violence was grossly underrated, that prisons and jails weren't reporting violence at all. Some of the other key findings is that isolating prisoners due to security risks wasn't a good idea, that was leading to more violence. They want it to be used as a last result. The other thing is that corrections officers aren't making enough money, Wolf. It's hard to recruit them and hard to keep them.
Thank you, Jackie, for that. Up next, President Bush says deportation of illegal immigrants, in his words, ain't gonna work. Do you agree? Jack Cafferty standing by with your email.
How's your school doing? I got the first note of the week.
CNN, all new tonight at 10.
Zarqawi has met his end.
The so-called Prince of Al-Qaeda in Iraq, killed in a U.S.-led airstrike. Insights into how the mission was carried out, taking out a terrorist. CNN tonight, 10 Eastern.
You may not have the contract to build the next great suspension bridge, or the workforce to dig the next Panama Canal. And you may not be working on the next big sports complex, but your truck could. The GMC Sierra with the available Vortec Max, engineered to the highest standard. Professional grade.
You can be a very knowledgeable pharmacist, but if you don't have good people skills, I care if somebody's sick or if somebody's hurting because they've lost a loved one. I want them to feel at home at my pharmacy. I want them to feel that they can rely on me. That's important to me. It's not about how much money I make or am I going to do better than someone else. It's not about that at all. It's about who you're going to save. My name is Melva McGinnis. I'm a CVS pharmacist.
Best Buy's got cool gifts for every gift-giving occasion. From great wedding gifts to fun birthday gifts they're sure to love. Even cool gifts perfect for any graduate. And don't forget, Dad's Day is June 18th. Best Buy's got hundreds of the cool gifts dads really want. Or go with a Best Buy gift card. Cool gifts for Dad, now at Best Buy.
The biggest thing in business is actually quite small. Introducing the Motorola Q. Ultra thin, fully loaded. It's the world's slimmest smartphone. Exclusively from the nation's largest high-speed wireless broadband network. Available now at Verizon Wireless stores everywhere. Verizon Wireless, it's the network.
I'm Ann, and I'm a GSK scientist. I just started Alzheimer's research when my grandmother was diagnosed. I wanted to hurry up and find a cure. We started working on ideas that no one else had tried. Maybe people don't think we try hard enough, but we believe we'll find the answers. And we're getting closer. What I see in the lab is very exciting. What I see at last is hope.
GlaxoSmithKline. Today's medicines finance tomorrow's miracles.
Jack Cafferty's got the Cafferty File in New York. Jack.
Thank you, Wolf. President Bush, undergraduate degree Yale University, graduate degree Harvard University, says deportation of illegal aliens ain't going to work. Do you agree? Gary in Lincoln, Michigan, the decider has decided that deportation ain't going to work. Truth be told, it will work and it should be done. The president's protecting businesses who want a cheap labor force. If they weren't here, Americans would end up taking those jobs. However, they would demand unions, decent pay, and benefits like the rest of us would. Clara, Benjamin, Texas, nothing will work until we get our borders secured. People can come into this country from every direction. It's ridiculous that still, after all this time has passed, our borders are no more secure secure now than they were when 9/11 happened. Terry in Mansfield, Ohio. If President Bush is referring to forcibly deporting the approximately 15 million illegal aliens in this country, I agree. We couldn't evacuate New Orleans, and those people wanted to get out. Randy in Lake Barrington, Illinois. There are a few things I agree with Bush on, but deporting 13 to 15 million illegal aliens won't work. Show me a 50-foot fence, I'll show you a 51-foot ladder. A couple of more. Earl in Tennessee. President Bush is throwing out a red herring when he says deportation won't work, like that's the only solution. Try sending executives of companies that hire illegals to jail. The illegals will leave on their own. And Warren in New Jersey writes, it ain't going to work because they ain't going to do anything about it except talk. Maybe we should make a single area where all the illegal aliens can live free of fear from deportation. Let's call it Texas. Wolf.
Jack, they're working on this so-called conference committee report, trying to resolve differences between the Senate and the House. You think they're going to get a deal?
No. If the short answer is no.
Is the country better off with the Senate version, in your opinion, or no deal?
I think no deal. If you can't secure the borders, what's the point in trying to implement some vast program that applies to 11 million people we can't even find? I mean, that makes no sense at all. It's virtually undoable.
See you in an hour, Jack. Thanks very much. We're back in 1 hour. Let's go to New York. Lou is standing by. Lou?
Thank you, Wolf. Tonight, the death of al-Qaeda's leader in Iraq, al-Zarqawi, is being hailed as a significant victory in the war against the Iraqi insurgency, even in the wider war on terror. But in Iraq tonight, insurgents have launched deadly new attacks, and al-Qaeda may have already replaced al-Zarqawi.
This is Lou Dobbs Tonight, news, debate, and opinion for Thursday, June 8th. Live in New York, Lou Dobbs.
Good evening, everybody. Tonight, the U.S. military has eliminated Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, al-Qaeda's top field commander in Iraq and the most wanted man in Iraq. President Bush says the death of Zarqawi is a major blow to al-Qaeda and a new opportunity for democracy to rise in Iraq. But dozens were killed in Iraq today in new insurgent violence. Tonight, Jamie McIntyre reports on the U.S.-led precision airstrike that killed Zarqawi in his final hiding place. John Voss reports from Iraq on reaction to Zarqawi's death from Baghdad, and Elaine Quijano from the White House with White House reaction. We begin with Jamie McIntyre at the Pentagon. Jamie.
Well, Lou, the U.S. airstrikes that killed Abu Musab al-Zarqawi were textbook in both design and execution. And is the case in most successful military operations. Intelligence, even more than high-tech weaponry, was the key to success.
It was late afternoon, and two U.S. Air Force F-16Cs like these were on routine patrol over Iraq when their radios crackled with urgent new orders. The pilots were vectored to Baquba and given coordinates for a single isolated house nestled in a palm and fig grove 8 clicks to the north. At 6:15 p.m., one of the F-16s dropped two 500-pound bombs, one laser-guided, the other satellite-guided, after being told to make sure to take out the house in a way that would ensure a HVT, a high-value target, inside would be killed.
We had absolutely no doubt whatsoever that Zarqawi was in the house. It was 100% confirmation.
Why so sure? Pentagon sources say U.S. Special Operations troops had the house under surveillance and knew Zarqawi's location every minute. So sure were they that the F-16s were told it was not a time-sensitive target, so they could take their time. Sources say their bombs glided to the target from several miles away, so Zarqawi wouldn't hear the planes and be tipped off. An Air Force commander says the rubble tells the story of why two 500-pound bombs were needed. The safe house was a solidly built structure made of reinforced concrete. The second bomb was to ensure the blast killed anyone inside the building. At least 6 people were killed, including Zarqawi, a man described as his spiritual advisor, and a woman and a child, possibly family members.
We have been able to identify al-Zarqawi through fingerprint verification, facial recognition, and known scars.
As soon as that was confirmed, U.S. and Iraqi forces raided 17 locations in and around Baghdad that had been under surveillance for weeks.
And in those 17 raids last night, a tremendous amount of information and intelligence was collected and is presently being exploited and utilized for further use. it was a treasure trove.
And that treasure trove of intelligence will continue to help the U.S. military as it fights the insurgency. In the case of finding Zarqawi in a place as big as Iraq, General George Casey said that the U.S. military had tips and intelligence from senior leaders inside Zarqawi's network. Lou?
And the $25 million reward for the capture or death of Zarqawi, Jamie?
Unclear at this time who, if anyone, would get it. If it turns out that the information came from somebody who was captured, they wouldn't get it. And they might not want to disclose who gets it because it could reveal who the mole is inside Zarqawi's operation.
Jamie, thank you very much. Jamie McIntyre from the Pentagon. Baghdad residents, desperate for stability after years of insurgent violence, cheered the death of Zarqawi, but even they have no illusions that the insurgency is over. John Voss reports from Baghdad.
Today, Zarqawi was eliminated, said the Iraqi Prime Minister. And a room filled with reporters, mostly Iraqi, broke into cheers and applause. There were celebrations on the streets of Baghdad. As word spread, the man called the Prince of Al-Qaeda was dead. The announcement of the death of Zarqawi is good news for all Iraqis, said this man. God willing, security will prevail. But with the death of Iraq's most wanted came words of caution.
Zarqawi's death will not by itself end the violence in Iraq. But it is an important step in the right direction.
The self-proclaimed leader of Al-Qaeda in Iraq was responsible for some of the most brutal attacks over the past 3 years, blowing up Shiite mosques, car bombings, kidnappings, and beheadings. His reach stretched beyond Iraq to his native Jordan, Morocco, and Turkey. This is a message to all those who are using violence and killing and destruction to stop and to think twice before it's too late, warned the Iraqi Prime Minister. And Lou, in the hours after Zarqawi's death, at least 37 Iraqis have been killed in 5 separate explosions around Baghdad. At least 85 have been wounded. Authorities here have announced a 4-hour car curfew for the capital and also for around the city of Baku, but not far from where Zarqawi was killed. This curfew coincides with Friday prayers. The Interior Ministry has announced extra security in coming days, fearing reprisal attacks from Al-Qaeda, and also today word from the U.S. military that 4 U.S. servicemen were killed on Tuesday, 2 soldiers, 1 Marine and 1 National Guardsman, all killed in combat operations. Lou?
John, thank you very much. John Voss reporting from Baghdad. U.S. military officials are speculating that Al-Qaeda may have already replaced Zarqawi. U.S. officials say Zarqawi's Egyptian-born lieutenant, Abu al-Masri, is likely to replace Zarqawi as the leader of al-Qaeda in Iraq.
Abu al-Masri, if you had to pick somebody, would be the person that is going to try to occupy the position that Zarqawi had. He's the most logical one out there as you look at that structure and how they operate. I will probably try to move into there.
General Caldwell says al-Masri may have helped establish the first al-Qaeda cell in Baghdad. The U.S. military has been frustrated in its more than 2-year effort to kill or capture Zarqawi, and only a month ago could only ridicule the terrorist leader who had eluded them. The Pentagon released outtakes of an al-Qaeda video from Iraq, which apparently shows Zarqawi having trouble firing his machine gun. Major General Rick Lynch of the coalition forces in Iraq said at the time, quote, "Here's Zarqawi, the ultimate warrior, trying to shoot his machine gun. He's shooting single shots. He looks down, can't figure it out, calls his friend to come unblock the stoppage." The Pentagon even made fun of Zarqawi's footwear in that video, saying he was wearing tennis shoes instead of boots. Well, the U.S. military is using the same approach to find Osama bin Laden, Afghanistan, and Pakistan as to find and kill Zarqawi. But it's obviously a far more difficult task. Barbara Starr reports.
U.S. troops got Abu Musab al-Zarqawi the old-fashioned way, tracking tips and assembling intelligence. And that is why 4.5 years after the 9/11 attacks, it is still so hard to get Osama bin Laden.
We will keep after him until one day he is either captured or killed.
Lieutenant General Carl Eikenberry commands 23,000 troops in Afghanistan, but they don't operate across the border in Pakistan, where bin Laden is believed to be sheltered by loyal tribes and Taliban fighters. As the hunt has continued, the war in Afghanistan, like in Iraq, has taken a grim turn. The U.S. military says it's fighting an insurgency now here in Afghanistan, and a counterinsurgency campaign, they say, could take years to succeed. The assessment? The Taliban are stronger now than anyone expected, especially in the south and east along the border.
The fight has not diminished, but they have had time to reorganize. They've had time to assess the situation, both in Afghanistan and with the coalition forces. They've had time to recruit more. They've had time to get funding.
But Eikenberry knows unless there is a lucky tip and he can get a weapon launched quickly, getting bin Laden will be tough.
We have an obligation to one day either kill or capture bin Laden for the purpose of justice to the American people and indeed to the entire world for the misery that this man has inflicted. And we keep faith with that.
Intelligence officials tell CNN they continue to get unverified reports of bin Laden sightings. If one of those reports did pan out, the greatest likelihood is that the CIA would quickly launch an unmanned drone carrying a Hellfire missile and attempt to kill the world's most wanted man. Barbara Starr, CNN, the Pentagon.
The White House tonight is warning that the death of Zarqawi will not lead to a quick end to the Iraqi insurgency. The White House says troubled days still lie ahead for Iraq and for our troops. Elaine Quijano reports from the White House. Elaine?
Lou, President Bush walked a fine line in congratulating American forces while at the same time cautioning the American people that, as you said, there are still difficult days ahead in Iraq. In his comments in the Rose Garden earlier today, the president said he spoke with Iraq's prime minister and congratulated him on the collaboration between coalition and Iraqi forces. And while Mr. Bush said that U.S. troops had, quote, delivered justice, he was also careful to say that Zarqawi's death is not expected to end the violence.
We can expect the terrorists and insurgents to carry on without him. We can expect the sectarian violence to continue. Yet the ideology of terror has lost one of its most visible and aggressive leaders. Zarqawi's death is a severe blow to al-Qaeda. It's a victory in the global war on terror. And it is an opportunity for Iraq's new government to turn the tide of this struggle.
As for how all of this unfolded here at the White House on Wednesday, as the president was being briefed by members of Congress just back from Iraq, and ironically, Congressman Ray LaHood was suggesting that it would be helpful to, quote, get Zarqawi. The president's national security advisor, Stephen Hadley, was learning that there had been a U.S. strike and that they believed Zarqawi had been killed. After that meeting, Hadley informed the president and his top aides, and then several hours later, Hadley told Mr. Bush by phone that Zarqawi's identity had in fact been confirmed. Now, the White House actually waited, allowing the Iraqis to announce the news first, a move certainly designed to bolster Iraq's new prime minister. Still an open question, though, Lou, what this means for American troop levels in Iraq. Monday, the president will be meeting with top U.S. officials at Camp David. They'll be joined by teleconference on Tuesday by Iraqi officials. And the focus, in the president's words, to, quote, discuss how best to deploy America's resources in Iraq. Lou?
Elaine Quijano from the White House. Thank you, Elaine. Still ahead, we'll have much more on the death of Zarqawi as we discuss with our experts in counterterrorism and military tactics what the future holds. Also, the Department of Homeland Security appears unable to eliminate a vulnerability at our border that would allow terrorists to enter this country. We'll have that special report. And President Bush invoking a higher power in the illegal alien crisis. We'll tell you what the president said and why the United States government is refusing tonight to step in and stop the foreign takeover of this nation's airlines. Another great American giveaway. Stay with us.
Last year, Norfolk Southern and its shipping partners took hundreds of thousands of freight loads off the highway. In fact, they've invested millions to convert even more traffic in the coming years. So it's easy to see how the economy won't be the only thing that benefits. Norfolk Southern, the future of transportation.
I'm Pete. I've had nice bosses, mean bosses, short bosses, tall bosses, she bosses, he bosses, they bosses, serious bosses, nervous bosses, and one kind of funny boss. Now I'm the boss, and my plan is to keep the boss happy.
You do what you love. We'll help you keep your investments on track. Fidelity Retirement Income Advantage. Call 1-800-FIDELITY. Smart move.
There's a company that builds more than 1 million vehicles a year in places called Indiana and Kentucky. One that has 10 plants, from the foothills of West Virginia to the Pacific coastline. What company is this? Toyota. A company that, along with its dealers and suppliers, has helped create hundreds of thousands of U.S. jobs. A company proud to do its small part to add to the landscape of America.
With Vonage, I talk as much as I want and pay a lot less. It's just $24.99 a month, and that includes voicemail, caller ID, three-way calling, and a lot more. The voice quality's great, and I even get to keep my same phone and phone number. I've had Vonage for 4 months. Should have gotten it a long time ago.
We're not out to change the world, just the way you talk to it. Sign up now and get your first month free. Call 1-800-399-5210. High-speed internet connection required.
Al-Qaeda's leader in Iraq killed. Now what? No one covers the whole story like CNN. On air, online, on the ground, around the world. Stay with CNN, the most trusted name in news.
The United States has done almost nothing to secure its borders and ports since September 11th. Now, the United States doesn't even require travelers from Canada, Mexico, or the Caribbean to present a passport to enter the United States. Immigration and Customs Enforcement wants to tighten border security, but some in Congress are fighting Homeland Security in its efforts to secure at least partly our porous borders. Lisa Sylvester has the story.
By the end of next year, all travelers between the United States, Mexico, Canada, and the Caribbean are supposed to have a passport or similar document. It's part of a border security law passed in the wake of the 9/11 attacks. But in a congressional hearing, concerns were raised that the Department of Homeland Security will not be able to meet that deadline.
Is a contractor in place? Is a design of the type document in place?
With respect to the documents going forward as opposed to the technology, a decision on precisely which technology to use has yet to be made.
Travelers now visiting the United States by land can present border agents with a myriad of documents, even baptismal records as proof of citizenship. Critics say it's a loophole terrorists could take advantage of. And it's not just the Mexican border that is a concern. Canada is gaining more attention with the arrest of 17 alleged terrorists in Toronto.
Canada is heavily infiltrated by terrorists. Canada is a recruiting, planning, financing, and launch point for international terrorism.
Even as some lawmakers are trying to make sure the program rolls out on time, others are seeking to push back the deadline, arguing the new requirements will adversely impact commerce and trade.
I think it's wiser to admit that we've got some challenges here, establish a more reasonable time frame, and go ahead and do it right rather than doing it quickly, which will just be an economic disaster.
The passport would be the document of choice under the new rule, but DHS will develop a pass card, a cheaper version of a passport.
Deciding the type of technology to use and developing those new pass cards have been a big holdup. A GAO report last month found DHS has a long way to go to implement the plans, and that time is slipping by. Lou?
Lisa, thank you. Lisa Sylvester from Washington. President Bush is invoking what he calls a higher power to sell his amnesty plan for millions of illegal aliens. At least he did today. Speaking to a group of Hispanic clerics today, President Bush went beyond his usual sales pitch.
America is a welcoming society, a country of law, but a country that also says if you work hard and dream big dreams, you can realize your dreams. And many of those who are in our country who are working hard to realize their dreams also rely upon a higher power to help them realize those dreams.
A higher power. President Bush regularly appeals to American history, tradition, patriotism to justify his so-called comprehensive immigration reform legislation. As best we can count, this is the first time he's referred to a higher power. Still ahead, new disclosures tonight in the case of a California woman whose identity was stolen by illegal aliens more than 200 times. Congress has cleared the way for foreign takeover of our airlines. It is simply the next installment of the Great American Giveaway. We'll have that special report. And illegal immigration was the top issue in California's special election. Radio host Rick Amato was in the middle of it all, and he joins us here tonight. American forces kill Iraq's most wanted man. What does it mean? Former CIA counterterrorism officer Gary Burnson and General David Grange join us here. Stay with us.
The best of Joseph A. Bank. Signature suits, $3.99. Trio suits and executive suits, only $1.99. Even our famous summer suits, $179. Plus, spring sport coats, $149. And dress pants, $89. How about extra bonuses like silk polos and crews, traveler shorts, even pinpoint dress shirts, $39. Only at Joseph A. Bank. Now through Monday.
This from a magazine called Car and Driver. The M45 rocks. Game over. And this from a company called Infinity. The M.
Single white female, enjoy shopping, long walks, and cuddling. Will you marry me?
Investing with someone you've never met doesn't make much sense either. That's why Edward Jones opens offices in our clients' neighborhoods, so you can get investment advice from someone you actually know. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
CNN, all new tonight at 10. The so-called Prince of Al-Qaeda in Iraq, killed in a U.S.-led airstrike, taking out a terrorist. CNN tonight, 10.
Are you ready for action-packed football? The Les Schwab Bowl kicks off Friday, June 23rd at PGE Park. Gates open at 4:30 for the Les Schwab Bowl Fan Fest, a pregame carnival for all ages. And all fans have a chance to win a stainless steel Frigidaire barbecue from Standard TV and Appliance. Tickets are available at PGE Park's box office or online at LesSchwabBowl.com. 20 Division I players will show their talent at the Les Schwab Bowl Friday, June 23rd.
It doesn't matter how rich you are, how poor you are, whether you're white, black, gay or straight, man or a woman, the same rules will apply to everyone equally. It's that easy. It's an easy solution. And it's very, very simple. I like simple ideas that use the tools you already have at your disposal. You got to get our elected representatives to do what's right, no matter what they think is best for their personal business. That's how you stay honest, is you tell people, here's my conflict, but despite my conflict, I will do what's right for the people I answer to.
Most wanted terrorist in Iraq killed. Reaction from a victim's father. Larry King, 9 Eastern.
Tonight, foreign investors are poised to take over another piece of crucial American infrastructure. And again, the White House, the Defense Department, and Department of Homeland Security are doing absolutely nothing to stop it. Bill Tucker has the report.
The outrage over foreign ownership of U.S. ports apparently taught many in Washington nothing. Congress has just cleared the way to give foreign investors functional control of domestic airlines, removing any roadblocks to the Department of Transportation's changing of a 65-year-old rule prohibiting foreign control of America's airlines.
The Republican majority wants to make it easy for the Bush administration to conduct its sale of America. First it was ports. That obviously didn't work. And now our airlines, to be foreign owned, hardly sounds like it makes sense for us.
That rule change will give foreign investors control over which routes the airlines fly, which and what type of planes it purchases, what country the crews that staff the planes come from, where the planes are maintained, and ticket pricing. The Department of Transportation says it's all legal because they're not letting foreign investors take ownership, just operational control.
That's the key word, operational. Operational control would not be in the hands of the people we want it to be.
How this would affect the Department of Defense's relationship with the airlines, which ferry troops and equipment in the time of war, is not clear. While the Department of Defense has verbally okayed the deal, the DoD has refused to put that okay in writing. And in the eyes of critics, it's one more industry where the United States is relinquishing its role.
We lost shipping over 20 years ago. We lost all the ports about 10 years ago. Nobody even knew it happened. Now we don't have a maritime shipping industry. We don't have any of our own ports. And we're about 10 years from the airline industry and the airports being in the exact same place.
There are pending amendments in both the House and the Senate to attempt to delay the changes proposed by the Department of Transportation. If the administration gets its way and foreign investors are allowed control of U.S. airlines, that control could begin as early as next month. Bill Tucker, CNN, New York.
Congressional opponents of foreign ownership of U.S. airlines are trying to force a vote on the issue, which would mean that every single member of Congress would have to go on record on the issue of foreign control of our airlines. If you want to contact your representatives, go to LouDobbs.com. We have easy links for you to your representatives in Congress and, of course, your senators. That brings us to the subject of our poll tonight. Do you believe the Bush administration is once again putting trade and commerce ahead of national security? Yes or no? Cast your vote at LouDobbs.com. Results coming right up. Taking a look now at some of your thoughts. Steve in Missouri. Lou, I read your comments about the constitutional amendment to ban gay marriage and disagree with your ridicule of the amendment. Yes, there are many issues that face our country, but your assumption that Congress can only work on one issue to the exclusion of all others is ridiculous. Sandy in Arizona, please thank the voters in California for electing Bill Bray, a Republican, although I'm a Democrat and disagree with the Bush administration's policies. I am not in agreement with the Democrats' immigration policy. I will vote for a Republican if it means securing the border and controlling immigration. PJ in Georgia, could it possibly be that the 4 Democratic senators who did not support the immigration legislation are up for re-election in November? Well, actually, 3 of those Democratic senators are up for re-election this year. They are Senator Robert Byrd, Senator Ben Nelson, and Senator Debbie Stabenow. But North Dakota's Senator Byron Dorgan, is not up for re-election until 2010. Send us your thoughts to LouDobbs.com. We'll have more of them coming up in the broadcast. Next here, one of the rare successes in the war against the insurgency in Iraq. Iraq's most wanted terrorist is dead, but what impact, if any, will Zarqawi's death have on that war? I'll be talking with former CIA officer Gary Bernson and General David Grange. And then illegal immigration, border security, and the role the two play in the upcoming midterm elections. Washington Times columnist and radio talk show host Rick Amato joins me, and why Ann Coulter calls the widows of 9/11 victims witches. Ann Coulter is our guest here, and we'll have your thoughts and a great deal more straight ahead. Stay with us.
What happens if your business model changes every 4 hours? Because we consider what might change tomorrow, our customers can feel more relaxed about what might happen today. Zurich, because change happens.
Turn off the Ambilight function on your Philips flat TV, and it's like going back in time. The only flat TV with Ambilight from Philips. You'll never go back to ordinary TV.
Hydrogen cars? I'm cool with that. Since a lot of the hydrogen that we'll be using will be created as a byproduct of clean coal power plants, we'll be less dependent on foreign oil. Want to learn more? Check this out.
Only one news network has been the most trusted for nearly 2 decades, CNN. When news is essential, Americans choose CNN. Still the most trusted name in news.
Last year, Norfolk Southern and its shipping partners took hundreds of thousands of freight loads off the highway. In fact, they've invested millions to convert even more traffic in the coming years. So it's easy to see how the economy won't be the only thing that benefits. Norfolk Southern, the future of transportation.
We've been reporting on the theft of identities by illegal aliens taking the identities of American citizens. Last night we reported to you about a Northern California woman whose Social Security number was stolen more than 200 times by illegal aliens. Tonight we report to you on our tracking down of those employers who hired some of those identity thieves. Casey Wyan has the story.
All different people.
Audra Schmierer says she's contacted 35 companies who hired illegal aliens using her Social Security number. She says none of them have agreed to take action against the identity thieves. But she's been rejected from jobs because her Social Security number is now linked to criminals.
I found in one situation that they entered my Social Security number, and I think because it was a larger company, they were able to see that my number actually had a felony under it. I don't have a felony. I've never even received a parking ticket.
But there's a warrant for her arrest in Texas, while dozens of illegal aliens work there under her Social Security number. One of them, her last name is Camacho, worked at Jack in the Box for 2 years, then Denny's for 3. The address listed on her W-2 form does not exist. Another man named Ramon used Schmierer's Social Security number to find jobs at 5 different companies.
What do you say to people who say that these illegal aliens who come here, they just come here to work, they just come here for a better life, they're really not hurting anybody in the United States?
Absolutely, they're hurting someone. They're hurting me. This has completely consumed my entire life.
The employers apparently violated no law because, according to the IRS, they're only required to rely on good faith to verify an employee's identity. So if documents aren't obvious fakes, they're acceptable. One of the ID thieves worked for Avon as an independent sales representative, not an employee. Legally, the burden is on independent contractors to certify under penalty of perjury they're using their own taxpayer ID number. Jack in the Box and Avon would not discuss individual employees, but say they follow federal law. Denny's did not provide a statement in time for this broadcast. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce says the answer is not stricter standards, but education.
The closest thing we have to a panacea for this problem is education and trying to help and empower the businesses, again, that want to comply with these regulations, or at least with best practices.
Many businesses fail to act when the IRS notifies them a worker is using a false ID. The potential fine is just $50 per employee. The IRS says it resolved more than 12,000 cases last year of taxpayers whose Social Security numbers were stolen, and that number is likely to grow until there's a mandatory, secure employee verification system in place. Lou.
Casey, that is simply an overwhelming statement by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. It's obvious the Chamber is the biggest business group in the country. They're obviously pro-illegal immigration, pro-open borders, but the temerity to say the issue is one of education, I mean, that's insipid at best.
We asked for their official statement on the issue of a mandatory workplace identification system for employers. They didn't get back to us with an official response, but they did say that they're holding meetings around the country trying to educate small businesses on what they can do to avoid this type of fraud. The problem is many small businesses just want to cut corners, Lou.
How about, let's help out the U.S. Chamber of Commerce here tonight. You ready, Casey? Okay. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal. It'll work out pretty good.
Sounds like a good idea, Lou.
Thank you very much. Casey Wyan from Los Angeles. Returning to the top story of this evening, the Bush administration tonight calling the death of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi a substantial national security success. And joining me now, 2 men who know a lot about national security from different perspectives. Former CIA counterterrorism officer Gary Burnson, the co-author of the book Jawbreaker. Good to have you with us, Gary.
Nice to meet you. And
General David Grange. General, good to have you with us. Let me start with you, General Grange. Your assessment of the impact of the killing of Zarqawi.
Well, I think the impact, one, has an effect on the Iraqi people, because I think a little bit of a myth started with Zarqawi, and killing him, I think, kind of broke that bubble. Even though he may not have controlled all the insurgency, it does have an effect. It has an effect on the Iraqi police, and the military gives them a little bit of a shot in the arm, as well as the coalition forces. So I think in perception, psychologically, it did have an effect.
Gary, let me ask you, this is General Grange and I have discussed throughout this campaign, the importance of intelligence, and any success against an insurgency is critical. Is this in your judgment, to be laid squarely at the ability to create intelligence, in this case on the whereabouts of Zarqawi?
Well, of course, we've been getting intelligence all along. The problem is targets like Zarqawi move all the time. Right. They were able to get it, they were able to verify it, and they were able to act on it immediately. The important thing now is making sure that they can exploit what they found on scene. If they're able to recover information on scene about his lieutenants and other folks, they need to be out there and trying to destroy them. They need to increase the ops tempo right away.
2 500-pound bombs, General Grange. How much material do you think will be left?
Well, obviously there wasn't much left at all, but you know, it's amazing about the human body. I mean, in Vietnam, we've gone into areas that have been just bombed for days of B-52 strikes, where when you walk in, you're up to your knees in dust. And after people still come out of the ground to fight with their noses and ears and eyes bleeding, but they're still alive. So I think two 500-pounders, I'd rather have two than one in this case, yes.
General Grange, always putting it succinctly and straightforwardly. Gary, do you think this is a turning point in the quality of intelligence? Could it be a foreshadowing of greater successes to come?
Well, I think that we've had good intelligence at times. And again, I don't think that there's been a significant ratcheting up in improvement of intelligence. It's just, you know, if you're at this long enough against hard targets, you'll have success. And this is just hammering and hammering and hammering away. And finally, they were able to get intelligence and the ability to strike quickly together.
And if you were to guess, the techniques employed in Iraq being attempted in Afghanistan and Pakistan, the likelihood of success against Osama bin Laden?
The difference with bin Laden is he's not actively leading forces the way Zarqawi was. With Zarqawi, he was out leading, out in the field. He was an easier target to kill. He was doing a lot more damage than bin Laden. Bin Laden's not actively leading forces and providing that much in the way of direction.
As a former CIA officer, does the United States have the capacity, covert capacity, to reach into Pakistan, even though he is being protected by warlords, reportedly there, and deal with the issue?
Eventually we'll get him, but it still could take a bit more time. But again, I think it'll be just like this thing. They'll find him and shoot.
General Grange, your thoughts, the impact on the U.S. military of Zarqawi's death?
Well, again, the effort, it was just stated earlier, the effort after Zarqawi has been going on for a long time. And near misses and constant pursuit, determination to get this guy. And right now, those 17 other targets that were hit and many others are being pursued the same way. The tenacity now has increased. There's morale has increased for the U.S. troops. So, I mean, this is very favorable, absolutely.
General Dave Grange, Gary Bernstein, thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.
Pleasure.
Coming up next, border security and illegal immigration proved to be the deciding issue in one California congressional race. San Diego radio talk show host Rick Amato followed the race closely, moderated a debate. He joins us tonight to share his views on the impact of that election and the always controversial Ann Coulter. Some of you didn't even want her on the show. Some of you describing her as an evil witch of conservatism. Well, it's a free country. Let's hear what she has to say. Stay with us.
Yeah, no, I gotta go. Yeah, I'm getting on.
I totally spaced on that one.
That was bad.
Let's just use your Capital One no hassle card.
Protect yourself with Capital One's low rates and great rewards.
I am so good.
What's in your wallet?
When you can trade at Fidelity for as low as $8, you might have money left over for other things. Like Rick Derringer.
Yeah.
For example.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Fidelity's got low-cost trading and low margin rates. What's your broker got? Fidelity. Smart move.
I'm Ann, and I'm a GSK scientist. I just started Alzheimer's research when my grandmother was diagnosed. wanted to hurry up and find a cure. We started working on ideas that no one else had tried. Maybe people don't think we try hard enough, but we believe we'll find the answers. And we're getting closer. What I see in the lab is very exciting. What I see at last is hope.
GlaxoSmithKline. Today's medicines finance tomorrow's miracles.
After all the homework, all those long nights hitting the books, she got into the college she really wants. Now you've got to figure out how to pay for it. Announcing Loan to Learn, a different kind of loan that lets you borrow for college without depleting your home equity or retirement savings, so family finances stay intact.
Dad, it's 2 a.m.
Loan to Learn. Call 1-800-773-3523 or visit loantolearn.com. If more kids could afford the college they really want, more of the predictions made about them in high school might come true. Announcing Loan to Learn, a different kind of loan that uses your good credit to qualify and covers not just tuition, but room and board, books, every kind of education-related expense. Loan to Learn. Call 1-800-773-3523 or visit loantolearn.com.
Two of the nation's leading newspapers trying to determine the meaning of the results from the special election for a congressional seat in San Diego, the congressional seat where the disgraced Duke Cunningham, the Republican candidate, won. And they came, those two newspapers, to starkly different conclusions, judging by their headlines. The front page of today's Washington Post reads, "Victory in California calms the GOP." The New York Times took a different meaning from it all. Its front page headline, "Narrow victory by GOP signals fall problems." Republican Brian Bilbray, of course, defeated Francine Busby, the Democrat, in that special election. Illegal immigration and border security, key issues, especially after Busby told a group of supporters, quote, "You don't need papers for voting." Busby said she misspoke, but my next guest today wrote in his column, "She may have painted the entire Democratic Party into a corner on the illegal immigration issues. Democratic candidates in congressional races across America now must demonstrate they're not pandering to illegal immigrant groups." Joining me now, a radio talk show host, Washington Times contributor and columnist, is Rick Amato. He moderated a debate between Bilbray and Busby on his radio show. Joining us tonight from San Diego. Rick, the outcome was supposed to be close. One of the things I've noticed, though, is that there's very little coverage of the fact that there was a third candidate in this race. What was the impact of his candidacy?
Well, Lou, first of all, it's a pleasure being with you. You're exactly right. The independent candidate, William Griffith, he did have an impact on this race. As a matter of fact, the San Diego Minutemen endorsed the third-party candidate, William Griffith. However, just days prior to the election, after Mrs. Busby had that famous, or infamous, I should say, misstep with their statement, the San Diego Minutemen pulled their endorsement of the third candidate, fearing a Busby victory. So it's fair to say that a couple things. This third-party candidate, number one, he did indeed remove votes from the Republican candidate, Brian Bilbray.
Right.
The New York Times may not want to face that fact, but it is a fact. Secondly, however, some of those votes did swing Bilbray's way late in the campaign when the Minutemen removed their endorsement.
The common conventional wisdom is that all congressional races are local. These issues are very much local in San Diego County, as you well know. But for those who are not aware of it, this is a case in which a national issue, illegal immigration, another national issue, border security, are also of immense local importance. Do you think that there is any likelihood that that will be the case? In other words, could people around the country be taking too much from the results of this special election, because illegal immigration and border security, while of critical, urgent importance to this nation, are not necessarily local issues?
Lou, I think that's an outstanding question. There are some nuances here. Brian Bilbray won for two reasons. He won because the Republican right lined up behind him on the illegal immigration issue. He also won because he and his campaign manager, Steve Dannon, are masterful campaigners. They are campaign assassins. Meanwhile, The Busbee campaign is more like the Keystone Cops. So there are two reasons why Bill Bray won this campaign: illegal immigration, and he's a masterful campaigner. Nationally, we don't know how that will play out.
Right. And you moderated the debate, the idea that this candidate, a Democrat ran in 2004 against Cunningham and did pretty well, actually, against a very powerful candidate 2 years ago, disgraced now, obviously. But to see that surge in the latter part from, what did he have, 15% in the primary to nearly 50% in the special election.
Lou, what is not covered in the media is, yes, Brian Bilbray received 15% in the primary. However, there were 18 Republican candidates.
Right.
So that vote was split 18 separate ways.
So the message here is that the Republican Party had better be very, very careful in what it extrapolates nationally. But no matter how careful it might be, the fact is that illegal immigration and border security, powerful issues.
Lou, you summed it up perfectly.
All right. Thank you very much. Rick Amato, good to have you with us.
Thank you, Lou. It's a pleasure.
A new poll in today's Washington Post reveals Americans' attitudes on illegal immigration, border security. They were asked, which of the following do you trust the most on immigration? Well, the results, 31% of those surveys said they trust President Bush. 37% me. I like the results. I've got to talk to that other 32%, however. Coming up at the top of the hour, the Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer. Wolf, you got to love that poll.
Yeah, that poll made some news here. Thanks, Lou. Is the death of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi a turning point for Iraq? I'll ask Senator John McCain and Congressman John Murtha. Plus, we'll get the latest live from Baghdad. Nicholas Berg was the first in a series of brutal beheadings blamed on al-Zarqawi. Now Nick Berg's father speaks out on the terrorist death, and it's not the reaction you probably will expect. And in our CNN Security Watch, might al-Zarqawi's death be a cause for concern about violence right here in the United States? All that, Lou, coming up right at the top of the hour.
Looking forward to it. Well, thank you very much. And a reminder now to vote in our poll. Do you believe the Bush administration is again putting trade and commerce ahead of national security on the efforts to give away control of U.S. airlines to foreign owners? Cast your vote at LouDobbs.com. Those results coming up here in just a few moments. Coming up next, Senator Hillary Clinton calls Ann Coulter's latest comments on 4 widows of September 11th victims, a vicious, mean-spirited attack. Ann Coulter joins us here next with her reaction to the controversy, her thoughts on illegal immigration, intelligence, able danger, and her brand new book, Godless. Stay with us.
Most wanted terrorist in Iraq killed. CNN Tonight. Startling reaction to Zarqawi's death from the father of the American he's believed to have beheaded. Larry King, CNN Tonight, 9.
The power of one is here. One company, one amazing price, one reliable network. Add Comcast Digital Voice for just $33 per month for 6 months. Enjoy unlimited nationwide calling. 12 popular calling features, plus voicemail with web access. Review your account online and keep your current phone number. Save on Comcast Digital Voice with the power of one. Call 1-800-COMCAST today.
The well-being of mankind, its peace and security, are unattainable until its unity is firmly established. From the writings of Baha'u'llah. For a free copy of the Baha'i magazine, Uniting the Human Family, call 800-22-UNITE. The magazine is filled with articles and photographs of Baha'is working together to create a better world. Find out about this growing faith. The magazine describes a community of people who are making a difference. Call now for your free copy, 800-22-UNITE, or visit our website at us.baha'i.org.
Now available on demand, Big Mama's back.
There's a new sheriff in town.
There's gotta be a perfectly logical explanation for these.
Oh my God. Knew that thong would come in handy.
Big Mama's House 2.
Time for me to drink a 40 and watch Dr. Phil.
Hit movies without the trip to the video store. On demand with Comcast Digital Cable.
CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Well, the best-selling book tonight on Amazon.com. Get ready, liberals. You can cheer if you are conservatives. The book is Godless, The Church of Liberalism. The author is conservative columnist Ann Coulter. Ann Coulter fascinates and delights those on the right. She infuriates those on the left. In her new book, she fiercely attacks, in one part of her book, 4 women whose husbands were killed in the September 11th attacks, and that has provoked outraged responses from Senator Hillary Clinton, New York Governor George Pataki, and more than a few others. Ann Coulter joins us here in the studio. Ann, welcome. I have to tell you, I heard from viewers today saying, how dare you have Ann Coulter on the air? It is an outrage. She is the witch of conservatism.
Oh, I thought we weren't allowed to say witch.
Oh, well, we could.
Isn't that getting to be like illegal alien, another word we can't use?
That's, well, there's apparently a break in the embargo on it. How do you react to that?
Well, it's really just a gift I have. It's getting to be kind of a kabuki theater. I put out a book, liberals are outraged. This time she's gone too far. I put out another book, liberals are outraged.
Do you think it's fair to
and by the way, Senator Kerry has also attacked me. You dropped him from the list.
I'm sorry, we would not want to.
Apparently,
there were a host. I don't mean to neglect anyone by omission here, but
apparently cutting a campaign commercial for John Kerry was an important part of the grieving process.
The way in which, the vigor with which you go after the, what do you call them, the Jersey girls, are they really so important in the matrix?
Well, no, they aren't important by themselves, but as apparently a lot of people are going to find out now that they're buying my book and can read the full book.
I can see you just despairing at all of that.
It is part of a chapter. I mean, the theme of the book is that liberalism is a religion. It's a godless religion. I describe their tenets, their doctrines, their beliefs in miracles and the supernatural, their temples, their clergy. This is a chapter on the liberal doctrine of infallibility. Right. And that is, they used to have complete 100% domination of the news. They can prevent us from responding.
I had the same reaction as I read your book, talking about the catechism, if you will. I mean, I have the same reaction to right-wing free traders. They have a faith-based view of economics.
Right. But that is not that is not the sine qua non of a conservative or of the Republican Party. There's obviously a lot of dissent on that in the Republican Party. I mean, look at Pat Buchanan. Right. I certainly don't hold up free trade as the definition of the party. You don't get much dissent in the Democratic Party. You don't get dissent on abortion, for example. We are a big tent. That is their holy sacrament.
What if I say to you, though, I think that you're marketing books with some of these outrageous remarks? Nothing wrong with that. But how much of it is heartfelt and how much of it is pretty sophisticated writing with a pretty sophisticated
I'd like to say I was that clever at marketing, but no, I mean, I've always talked this way, I've always written this way, and I certainly wrote and talked this way back when nobody was publishing me. If I wanted to be published, if I wanted to market books, it wasn't good to be talking the way I was. Nobody would publish Slander, you may remember that. Right. It was killed by HarperCollins. My agent shopped it for 6 months. Literally, no one would publish it. And then, of course, that immediately became #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list. So then Americans, like my books, despite liberals trying to suppress them. And then they say, oh, it's just a trick to get published or to get bought.
I had people saying, I should just absolutely eviscerate you here tonight and just destroy you, which really isn't my job. And
I think you are eviscerating. You're doing a very good job.
Thank you very much. But the idea that the media has this reaction to you, I find fascinating, because you are basically forgive me, but the opposite of Michael Moore.
I reject
I know
that.
you do. I know you do. But I'm giving you one man's perception of possibility.
I think I am the right-wing Mencken, the right-wing Mark Twain. I am not the right-wing Michael Moore.
I will let you define yourself, obviously, and I'll even entertain the possibility. But the idea that we have reached a point in this society, you're talking about liberalism, and that's great for all of the conservatives who are mad and passionate about being a conservative and a Republican. God bless them. forgive me for the expression, and the liberals and the Democrats who are madly and passionate in love with their partisanship, God bless them. But do you really feel, I'd just like to know, because you're a very bright lady, we have such important issues here.
Yes.
And we have to go through the attacks, and we have to go through the rancor.
Yes, well, there are a lot more attacks on one side than the other. And if you're describing what I say about the Jersey girls as reducing dialogue in America, au contraire, I think it is precisely the opposite. That is my objection to what liberals are doing by sending out victims as their spokespeople. I think it's the ugliest things liberals have done to dialogue in this country. Yeah, there are important issues, and we should discuss it. But if you have a point to make, send out somebody who isn't a widow, who isn't an orphan, who didn't have a son die in Iraq, who didn't lose limbs in Vietnam to make the point so that we can respond. Because I don't want to hear when I respond, oh, that's mean, oh, that's mean. No, let's have a dialogue about the issues. You never see conservatives doing that. Liberals are putting up human shields.
Doing what?
Putting up human shields to make our points. Go ahead, attack me.
Okay, I'll attack you.
I'm here, I'm not queer, I'm not
ready?
going away.
Here you go. Conservatives. I have been attacked as a economic isolationist and a protectionist because I don't believe that we should run 30 years of consecutive trade deficits.
Right.
Do you think I'm a protectionist or economic isolationist?
I must say, free trade is not really my issue. I'm certainly not a free trade
I've been
fetishist.
called by those same corporatists as supporting your, both parties, by the way. I think corporate America supports
That's a different issue. That's not really conservative
I tend
liberal.
to dismiss both the liberal and the conservative.
I think that's wrong because the conservative base is much more with you. You're talking about the Wall Street Journal Republicans. Those are the old Republicans. Those are the Republicans that used to lose elections. Now, the Republican Party, the basis of the Republican Party is lower taxes, protect life, defend the country. That's it. We have disagreements about other things.
As a matter of fact, I for the life of me can't find the difference between the Republican and the Democratic Party right now. But what I was going to say is...
Oh, I can tell you.
Okay, thank you. But I'm going to wait until after you answer this question, if I may. And that is, they attack me as a racist, as a xenophobe, because I want to see our borders secured. So does your president. Want to have those borders open and everybody just kumbaya, irrespective of the vulnerability to national security threats, terrorism. How do you react?
As I quote Peter Brimlow in my book, saying the new definition of racist is a conservative who has an argument you can't respond to. Right. Yeah, everybody gets called a racist, Lou. When you make an argument they can't respond to, that's the first thing they say, which is...
So I find some mean-spiritedness, actually, on both sides of it. And
you really can't say both sides. I mean, that is simply... Yeah, but it is not true.
I'm going to say it again. I think both the left and the right are mean-spirited. It is not true. Okay, you can say it. That is absolutely not true. Look, Michael Moore can go speak on any college campus in America. I have to travel with a bodyguard. There is no food. There are no threats. There is no violence being done, even against Ward Churchill, calling all of the victims, not the 4 Jersey moms, little Eichmanns. There's no violence being done to him. There's a Talibanist at Yale. He walks about unmolested. Frankly, I'm a little disappointed in the manly virtue of the conservatives in this country that Talibanist can walk around without getting his face smashed. No, when Michelle Malkin, David Horowitz, and I, and Condoleezza Rice can't give a speech on a college campus without a phalanx of bodyguards and policemen, do not tell me it's both sides engaging in the mean-spiritedness. Both sides in the media, and certainly in the discourse that I would normally describe as the media. But I will tell you this. I think your point in terms of university campuses, whether people like to hear it or not, is absolutely true. There is a mean-spiritedness, I think, abroad in many universities in which there is a liberal cant that is suffocating to free and independent thought. Now, on that, I will absolutely accede to your view.
Those are the left's madrasas
I'm still working on the Mark Twain and the H.L. Mencken. Ann Coulter, thank you. The book is Godless, and it's already #1. And if you're liberal, you ought to read it. It's kind of fun. If you're conservative, you already know what's in it. Now, have I messed up your marketing? I bet it.
No, that was fabulous.
Okay. Ann Coulter, thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Still ahead, the results of our poll tonight. We'll have more of your thoughts. Stay with us.
Vacations are the perfect place to lose your inhibitions. And the worst place to lose your money.
No!
Carry American Express traveler's checks. If they're lost or stolen, we'll refund them in 24 hours. Get them now and receive a $500 discount card. Good towards the guaranteed lowest rates at thousands of hotels. Plus, extra savings on already low airfares. And lots more. American Express traveler's checks. Now with bonus savings. Get them before August 31st at your local bank. Woohoo! Don't leave home without them.
What happens if your latest product goes global in a single bound? Because we consider what might change tomorrow, our customers can feel more relaxed about what might happen today. Zurich, because change happens.
CNN, the most trusted name in news.
The results of our poll tonight, 99% of you say the Bush administration is once again putting trade and commerce ahead of national security. Taking a look now at more of your thoughts, Lou, can we have a constitutional amendment banning the marriage between the GOP and big corporate money? That is one union that is a threat to everyone. Bill in Ohio, Lou, in an effort to save traditional marriage, I'd like to propose a constitutional amendment banning divorce. And Jim in Washington, Lou, in counting American votes, is counting American votes another job that an American won't do? And Thomas in Alabama, I was really worried when you said one company controlled a major portion of voting machines in America. I was relieved when you said the company was from Venezuela. I was afraid it was from Washington, D.C. Send us your thoughts at LouDobbs.com. Each of you whose email is read here receives a copy of my book, Exporting America. We thank you for being with us tonight. We hope you'll be joining us here tomorrow. For all of us, thanks for watching. Good night from New York. The Situation Room begins right now with Wolf Blitzer. Wolf?
Thanks very much, Lou. And to our viewers, you're in the Situation Room where new pictures and information are arriving all the time. Standing by, CNN reporters across the United States and around the world to bring you tonight's top stories. Happening now, sudden death. Iraq's most wanted terrorist is eliminated in a U.S. airstrike. It's 3 a.m. in Baghdad, where Iraqis are celebrating the killing of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, as al-Qaeda's allies are now vowing vengeance. It's 7 p.m. here in Washington, where they're high-fiving from the White House to Capitol Hill. Is the tide turning in Iraq? I'll ask a key supporter of the war, Senator John McCain, and a key critic, Congressman John Murtha. And we'll hear from the father of an American hostage who was beheaded in Iraq, apparently by Abu Musab al-Zarqawi himself. So why does he feel sorry about the terror leader's death? I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room.